Well, g'day there, YouTube. My name is G3 Iron, and I've been waiting, looking for an opportunity to do some treasure hunting, and maybe, just maybe, go on an expedition. In the upcoming 3.15 League, I'm hoping to get treasure, lots of it, that maybe some of our ancestors left behind in Oriath and Raycast. Oh, let's get after it, boys. Oh, what is up, everybody? Welcome, welcome. It is good to see each and every one of you gathered together here on this notorious and auspicious night. It is truly one of my favorite nights. It really is. Patch Notes reading night is a night where we all get to all laugh together. We get to all react together. We get to all cry together. And we all get to go on an adventure, on an expedition, on a quest to find some treasure. And so that's what we're doing. We're on our way to hopefully find some treasures in these patch notes after the butchering that was the Balance Manifesto yesterday. Here's my question for you guys in chat tonight. I might ask this a few times, I might forget. But my question to start off, before we get into anything else, the question tonight is will we end up being more confused after reading the patch notes than we were confused after reading the Balance Manifesto? That is our deep philosophical question for the night. Okay, well, welcome. It's good to see each and every one of you gathered together. Cowsad, what's up? Welcome, Peter. Samuel, good to have you. Who else is in here today? Dragosi, Indiana Iron? Yes, Indiana Iron. I love it. Hello, what is up, YouTube? My name's Indiana Iron. We're going to go find some treasure by cracky. By Jupiter. Oh, man. After Manifesto, I'm feeling like sitting out this league. Yeah, we'll see, Sam. Like we'll see. I can completely understand why players would feel that way. You know? Like, the Balance Manifesto, to say it was confusing, in my opinion, is like an understatement. That might be already the understatement of the year. It was very confusing. Like, I just didn't quite understand how exactly to compare the words of Grinding Gear games and what they said they were aiming for and the actions of Grinding Gear games and what they're actually doing. So, I don't know. That's just me. Okay, so the last time I did a live reading of patch notes, wow, was it Heist? Was it all the way back to Heist? That's a long time ago. That's at least what I've got saved in my drive on Google. So let's take a look here. The word count on the Heist patch notes, that was the last one that I had, was 8,197 words. 8197 for Heist patch notes. Let's take a look. I don't want to spoil anything. We grab all of this stuff and we go, oh my goodness, page down, page down, page down. Is this just the whole page? Don't spoil anything. I'm not spoiling it. I'm just trying to get to the end of the post. Oh my goodness. This is just the whole website. Okay, nope, there we go. Okay. Update. Oh, there's updates. All right. So I'm going to copy and paste this into a Google document and we will see what the word count spits out. There's got to be like somebody's got to have developed a tool by now to actually do like word counts on websites. That'd be kind of cool. All right, let's see. Word count is 16,838. Crikey. That's a lot of words. Guys, I don't think I'm going to be able to read all the words tonight. That is... Okay, what was Heist? Heist's exact numbers, 8,197. These are 16,000 words. That's got to be the largest ever. That has to be. There's no way that anything beats that. Okay, what was Harvest? Harvest was 11,000. That's still 5,000 more words. Like, oh my goodness. Crocodile Dund Iron. I like that one. That one's pretty good. What else? Let's see here. 16,800 words. Oh. It's just a lot. That's an expansion. That might be more than the expansions, actually. Yeah, at least all the numbers that I've got. Those are bigger than all the numbers that I've got in my databanks. I could be wrong. I tell Mrs. Draconis every single day. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. All right, here's the 3.10 word count, just for comparison. We're just doing a little comparison. 10,711 words. For Delirium. That was Delirium. All right, 3.9 Metamorph. That included an expansion. 8,340 words. That's by far the most of the last year, definitely. Game says, oh boy, no wonder I see the patch notes. I give up waiting for someone to stream it as I'm too lazy to see. I mean, I used to be in that boat as well, man. Like, oh man, I don't want to read all this. But then I was like, you know what? Other people have done this. Other people have helped me learn the game. I can sit down and learn the game, and I can help other players hopefully learn. Okay, that's just, it's a lot of words. This is just a lot of words. So, if at any point throughout the night I just stop speaking, that's why. It's because I've run out of words. There's studies on the average number of words that men and women use. I'm pretty sure, at least in the United States, this would be more than the average number of words that a man would use on a daily basis. Okay, so Expedition Challenge League. I'm not going to read this. We're going to skip as many words as we can. We already know what's coming with the Expedition League. You can watch the trailer. Lots of other info there. Major new content and features. Okay, this is all the new gems and stuff. Yep, we've already heard about a lot of this, right? We've already heard about this. Hopefully you guys have already heard about this. It's all right there. Minor new content and features. Okay, we don't care about that. Updating art. If you guys care about that, then you can care to read it yourself. All right, Act 1 changes. Let's start with this. We have rebalanced various monsters found throughout Act 1 to make them more dangerous. Note the balance changes made to Act 1 bosses and monsters also apply to their endgame map versions. Okay, so Hillock bosses, Merveil bosses, Brutus bosses, Fairgraves bosses. Is there anybody else that I'm missing that are bosses from Act 1? There's another one that I got to be missing. There's another Act 1 boss, right? I'm missing something, but... Okay, so Act 1's going to be tougher. So expect a lot of meme rips in hardcore, like from the get-go. I guess that's what we should expect, right? Expect just a lot of people just ripping right from the get-go. Just instantly, oh, I died to Hillock in what you call it, like hardcore solo self-found. Like, just expect that. Okay. Monster life has been increased by roughly 46% at level 1, tapering down to the same amount of life at level 84. Some bosses and monsters in Act 1, such as Hillock and Oozback, have had their life reduced to partially counteract this damage. What? Why did they word it this way? Monster life has been increased by roughly 46% at level 1. Like, if you're trying to make a general statement, then you... Why would you say something that's just... Whoever's writing this stuff nowadays... I miss Bex. I'll just say that. Maybe Bex wrote this, but... Okay. So I think what they're trying to say is like Hillock and Oozback. Like, why would you say some bosses and monsters, such as Hillock and Oozback? Why wouldn't you just list them out? This is the patch notes. Why wouldn't you either say, hey, here's all the stuff that's affected by this. Here's all of the exceptions. Or say there's some exceptions and we want you to discover them. Right? They've done that in the past. That's been an approach in the past. Or am I just totally... Hail Rake, there you go. Isn't Hail Rake Act 2? Hail Rake's Act 2. Right? No. I'm thinking of the guy who kills... who's in, like, the den. Who's before you get to the den. I forget his name. The guy who's like a spider and he's crawling around. Do you guys remember who I'm even talking about? I don't remember who I'm even talking about. Hail Rake is the guy that that you need to kill to get the medicine chest. I'm with you now. I'm with you. Hey, what's up, K-Trim? Welcome, welcome. This feels like a technical document. I mean, in some regards it is, right? It is a technical document in some ways, right? We know even back when Bex used to be in charge of all the patch notes that, because they gave us some insight into that. I think that was before Delirium or before Harvest. They did like a walkthrough on how they assemble the patch notes. And they're like, hey, basically what we do is we have different team members who feed information to Bex or to the community manager or whoever it is who's in charge of patch notes communication. Like they're all different teams and different members of the team are filling in information to whoever's actually then disseminating that information out into the community. So if there's inconsistencies or confusion, it's because like that's one person who's being the focal point who's got to then figure out what all these different people are saying and what they mean. So it is highly technical in some ways. That's kind of what my gripe is with GGG and some of their language that's confusing. Like if you're going to be highly technical, then get specific and say things very specifically. If you're not going to be technical and you're not going to really get into all that, then just don't. Say the general thing. Just say monster life is generally being increased by around 46% at level 1. There's some monsters that aren't affected by that, and we've reworked them. Like either leave it to our imagination or don't. Don't say, well, there's some guys, and here's some examples. Yeah, but what about the other guys? Like who else is on that list? Oh, well, that's for you to find out. Just make me find out about everything or tell me everything. Like that's the whole point of patch notes and Balanced Manifesto. But then again, maybe I shouldn't be complaining. If they were going to tell us more, we've already got 16,000 words to read through, and I'm asking them for more. So maybe that's inappropriate. Hey, crikey, you want to see something inappropriate? I've got something to show you from the down under, if you know what I'm saying. Monster pack size has been buffed in later areas of Act 1 and slightly reduced in the coast. Okay. A new monster type called cell crawlers have been added to the lower and upper prison. Oh, that'll be fun. Maybe new specters. A new monster type named ghouls have been added to the lower and upper prison. Okay, maybe some new specters. Tar zombies have been added to the ship graveyard and the ship graveyard cave. Kelp, nimble, coconut, spider crabs, and squids have been added to the Cavern of Wrath. Parasitic squid have been added to the Cavern of Anger. Brutus has taken the time to renovate his arena? What? Brutus is doing some like HGTV redecorating? Hi guys, I'm Jake. Yeah, I'm Jake from HGTV, and we're here today decorating Brutus's lair. Various effects improvements have been made to monsters and bosses throughout Act 1. Various audio improvements have been made to monsters and bosses throughout Act 1. Okay, cool. Was waiting for you for patch notes aren't the same if you're not the one reading them. Oh, that's very kind of you, Jungle. That's very kind of you. I always appreciate the kind words. That's very kind. It's inspiring. Who's the pirate? Person who Iron Mist was the Mermaid Queen. Oh, there you go. Iron After Night? Yeah, Iron After Dark. Yikes. We're gonna make lots of Lots of some jokes that you might want to make sure you're wearing headphones tonight, if you know what I'm saying. Now, we'll keep it clean. We'll keep it as clean as we can. We have substantially reworked Path of Exile's Flask system. Yep, we already know. We read that. All right, character balance. Base character evasion rating has been lowered to 15, previously 53. Characters no longer gain evasion rating per level? Crikey. What? I mean, it's not that big a deal. Like, it's not that big numerically overall. When you're running around with the Queen of the Forest, you got thousands of evasion. That's not that big a deal. But, like, we're going to legitimately see, like, racers die to Hillock on stream. It's going to be funny. Maybe not the best racers, but we're going to see people who are attempting to race who are going to die to Hillock. It's going to be funny. There's going to be lots of rips. There's going to be lots of rip videos this league. Game-wide poison now does 50% more damage. Yep, we heard about that. Taking 30% of the combined physical and chaos damage, up from 20%. The consecrated ground effect no longer grants 100% increased critical strike chance for hits against enemies on consecrated ground. Yep, we already know that. Skill gem balance. Okay, we already know that from the balance manifesto. So maybe part of the reason why there's so many words in this is they're including things that they've already said in the balance manifesto, whereas they previously just said, hey, here's the stuff in the balance manifesto, go reference that. That could be. Okay, specific skills. Ancestral Protector. Okay, his damage goes up. Now deals 180% of base damage and has 180% effectiveness of added damage at gem level 20. Previously 144. Okay, so was the previous 144 of base damage or effectiveness or both? Previously both were at 144. This is what I'm talking about, communication. Like, could they word that? Maybe it's a cultural thing. You know what? Maybe one of the reasons why at least us stupid Americans don't know how to read things that GGG comes out with is because we don't know the Queen's English. I don't know. We don't speak with a New Zealand accent. Ancestral War Chief now deals 160% of base damage and has 166% effectiveness of added damage. I'm going to say it's both. What do you guys think? I'm going to say it's both. That's what I'm going to say. Artillery Ballista. All right, now is 44%. Oh, these are all of the changes to the base gems. This is what they were talking about in the balance. Do we really need to go through each of these? They said in the balance manifesto, hey, base level gems are getting stuff added to them at base level 1. Now deals 44% of base attack damage at gem level 1. Previously 40, up to 53. Previous at 51. Yeah, they said since they're pulling damage off of supports, they're putting it back onto the active gems. So that's what I'm going to say is going on here, right? Can we all agree with that? Are we all in agreement? Basically, that's what they're doing here. That's what this is. These are the skill gems that are getting buffed because support gems have taken a hit. So Bane, Artillery Ballista, Ancestral War Chief, Ancestral Protector, Barrage is going up. Blade Blast, Lost Unnerve, which, by the way, for those of you who don't know, Unnerve, I'm going to pull it up here. I'm going to just straight up read it. Because there was some discussion on our Discord server, on our community Discord server. By the way, if you're joining us in chat tonight, or if you're not in chat but you're just hanging out and you're watching, we do have a Discord server if you'd like to join it. If you just want to creep around and listen to discussions or read some discussions on Path of Exile, you're more than welcome to join. It's free for everybody to join. You don't have to be a Patreon supporter or a Twitch subscriber in order to join the Discord. So you're more than welcome to do that. All the links, I think, are still below. If those links aren't working, somebody will let me know. So Unnerve is a debuff that causes affected targets to take 10% increased spell damage. And the way how wording works in Path of Exile is enemies that are taking increased damage, it basically acts like a multiplicative. So it acts like a more multiplier. So the fact that Blade Blast loses Unnerve, it doesn't mean that the gem is broken. I don't want people to think, oh, Iron said that the Blade Blast is broken. No, but when I'm reacting to that, I'm going, okay, well, you got to get Unnerve from somewhere else now because it's not built into the gem. It is a hit to the gem. Doesn't mean it's not great. Doesn't mean players won't play it. Just means it's not going to be in and of itself on its own without unnerve the same scale. Blade Flurry. Hey, Blade Flurry got a buff. Guys, they're not going to buff Blade Flurry in 3.16, 3.17, or 3.18 because they're going to be like, yeah, we buffed it in 3.15. What's the problem? We did it. Isn't Bane a nerf? Isn't Bane a nerf? Yeah, it appears that way. No, you're right. 28 to 42 instead of 28 to 47. Yeah, Bane got hit by 5% there on the top end. Good catch. Good catch. All right, so Blade Flurry deals 49% of base damage and has 49% effectiveness. It was previously 45. Yeah, so that 4% difference. Guys, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but as an avid Blade Flurry player, the feedback that I'd like to offer to Grinding Gear Games is that the reason why we haven't been able to play Blade Flurry and show it in its true potential and enjoy it to its fullest extent is because it's missing 4% of base damage and 4% of effectiveness. Like, come on! It's an adjustment. I get it's not meant to be a buff. I get it's not meant to be a rework. There's just some skills that just get left in the dust, man. In compared to other skills. None of these skills are skills that are unplayable or nobody can use them, etc. That's don't hear what I'm not saying. You can still play Blade Flurry if you want and go blow up the game. I'm just saying in comparison to other stuff, it's like, ugh. It's interesting. I'll say that. I'm going to say that a lot tonight. It's real interesting, mates. All right, Blade Storm now deals 150% of base damage and has 150% effectiveness of added damage at gem level 20. Okay, that's interesting. Blood Rage now has a life cost of 12 at gem level 1. Previously a mana cost of 7. Up to 29 life at gem level 20, previously 16 mana. Body Swap, yep, we read this one yesterday. Now it's 200% more area of effect if consuming a corpse, previously 300. Yep, the AoE got hit. Chain Hook. Chain Hook? Really? Really? I forget who it was. If you're in chat tonight, remind me. I forget who it was, but a couple of guys in guild tried to make Chain Hook work, and we were discussing it, we were chatting about it, and it never took off with the particular approach that person had. But anyway, God bless players who play Chain Hook. Charge Dash now deals 121% of base damage and has 121% effectiveness. Previously 110. Okay, there you go. So that's a little bit. Charge Dash used to be pretty fun. There used to be a couple of Charge Dash builds. I want to say that wasn't that long ago. Was that Metamorph? It might have been Harvest. I don't remember now. Cleave. This is what happens when you get geriatric and old, guys. This is just what happens. You just don't remember quite as many things, and the things you do remember, you don't remember exactly when. I was chatting with somebody who was 94 years old today, and they kept insisting that they were not 94. They were insisting that they were only 92. To them, those 2 years really made a big difference. You know, it's just our minds change the older we get. Cleave now deals 213% of base damage and has 213% effectiveness. Previously 170. Okay, so that's like 43%. But in terms of the overall perspective, I see what they're saying, that it's like 20% across the board. I see why they're saying that. I get the generalized sense of what they were saying in the Balanced Manifesto when they referenced that number. 230, previously 184. Yeah, see, the number looks good, but it's to make up for the 20 to 40% of damage that we lost off of support gems. So if you're getting back 25, 20%, 30% of your damage on the base gem, but you would have had 40% if things would have remained unchanged off of support gems, you still took a hit on your damage. So That's at least what Grinding Gear Games communicated in the Balance Manifesto. That's what they're aiming for. Slowing players down, curtailing player damage, making the game more challenging so that way we can see more monster animations. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to make a build this league that really, really enjoys monster animations. You guys are going to like it. It'll be fun. Now deals 59% of base damage and has 59% effectiveness. Previously 54. Cyclone got buffed? Cyclone's going to be back meta, guys. I mean, it already was meta. we just did that end of the league for Ultimatum. We just did that end of the league meta snapshot, and Cyclone was still on there. That's pretty funny. Dash, yep, cooldown time of 2.5 seconds, previously 2. Now has 19% increased cooldown recovery rate at gem level 20, previously 57%. Yep, got hit pretty hard. Discharge, yep, we saw that the lightning damage was down by about 5%, but we gained about 20% of cold damage, is what they had said. So, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's overall, it's more damage. It's an increase to damage to discharge, so maybe we'll see more dischargers running around. Dominating Blow. Now deals 238% of base damage and has 238% effectiveness of added damage at gem level 20, previously 190. See, that's a what? 38 plus 10? That's a 48. So, yeah, 24%-ish, 22-ish percentage. It's like a 20% change that they just did to all of these, or almost all of these. Slowing down the game by nerfing defenses, says Totek. Yeah. Jungle says, I will probably play traps or totems this league. I can't go slower than that. Yeah, that's the thing that always hinders me from playing traps. Traps can be fun. Like, traps are very satisfying. When you just run up to a pack, I usually put the release button on, on spacebar. So I run up to something, I throw all my traps with spacebar. You just run up and hit spacebar and you see everything just explode, especially playing lightning trap. That was pretty fun. But the problem with it is, of course, if you get hit by anything off screen, you're probably getting stunned. You have no defenses, almost no defenses whatsoever. Early game. It can be frustrating. It's very satisfying when you actually kill stuff, but eventually you're just like, oh my goodness. If you're anything like me, you don't have to be like me, but if you're anything like me, eventually you're like, crikey, why am I hitting spacebar for every single pack of monsters I want to explode? Why don't I just bring my own monsters and have them kill everything for me? And I'll pick up the treasure. I mean, that's Summoner life. Double Strike, 140. Up from 112. Dread Banner has 1% increased Fortify effect per stage, down from 2. Yeah, they already told us they don't like that we use Fortify. Which is pretty funny, because a year ago they gave us a bunch more Fortify effect, right? Like they added a bunch of sources of Fortify effect. Right? With the melee rework? Oh boy. Dual Strike, 244%, up from 195. EQ, hey, this is a good skill gem. We used to use this one. Now deals 150, previously 120. Okay. Quality on the Phantasmal EQ skill no longer grants increases and reductions to spell damage, also apply to attack damage from the skill. It now grants increases and reductions to spell damage also apply to attack damage from the skill at 0 to 50% of their value. Okay. Earth Shatterer. Isn't Dread Banner just usually mostly used for that free impale? Yeah, a lot of the time. But if you really wanted to go ham on defenses, it's another example of, well, players usually use it for this, but GGG's looking at it and going, nope, crikey, it's got Fortify effect on it. We got to get it out of there. We got to reduce it. Earth Shatter now deals 200% of base damage, previously 160. Explosive Arrow, yeah, now deals 5% more damage. Yeah, this was our POE Royale joke from the other day. Hey, Explosive Arrow got a buff. Oh. I don't even think that's Explosive Arrow that's going to apply to POE Royale, because that very clearly exists on like a separate realm or something. But maybe it does. You never know. All right, Fire Burst. Fire Burst, granted by the cast level 20 Fire Burst on hit essence modifier. Level 20 Fire Burst now deals 1,122 to 1,683 fire damage. That is down from 1,526 to 2,288. That is a huge hit. Now has a 250% effectiveness of added damage, down from 340. I mean, that just makes me say it. That's all that does. I mean, it is what it is. They're being consistent, right? They're saying, hey, we don't like you having damage, so we're going to hit stuff that does damage. Firestorm now deals 23 to 35 fire damage at gem level 1, up to 250 to 375 at gem level 20. All right, so that's a slight buff, both at the end game and at the early game for Firestorm. Now has 55% effectiveness of added damage, previously 50%. First Impact now deals 325% more damage with hits and ailments, previously 250. Oh, so could you do a Firestorm Ignite build? Because the First Impact is going to get you with a really much bigger Ignite. It's something. Doesn't mean it's good, but it's something. Flame Dash now has a cooldown time of 3.15 seconds, or sorry, 3.5 seconds, previously 3. Now has 19% increased cooldown recovery rate at gem level 20, previously 47. Now has a cast time of 0.8 seconds, previously 0.7. This change, guys, this change right here is what's going to slow all of us down. It's going to kill the meta. This right here, 0.8 to 0.7. GGG with the big time nerfs slowing us all down. All right, Flame Wall, secondary debuff, now deals 7.2 base fire damage at gem level 1, previously 8.7, up to 1520.9 at gem level 20, previously 1852. So Flame Wall is definitely down. Flame Blast, for everybody who wants to play Pizza Sticks, now has 130% more spell damage for each stage. It was previously 110, so that's a buff. And Flamethrower Trap, yep, rotation speed, we read that yesterday. Flicker Strike now deals 210% of base damage. It was previously 168. That actually seems to be on the higher end. That's more towards that 40%. It's a lot closer to 40% than it is 20% on the buff on that. Rip, they spotted how strong that was. Yeah, Flame Dash, the difference between 0.8 and 0.7, I mean, that's the difference between the vast majority, 95% of the players, of why it is that they can't kill Cirrus or Maven or Shaper or Dominus in Act 3. It's because of Flame Dash. It's actually that cooldown, yeah. Firestorm would be interesting, but nobody makes guides for that. I mean, Firestorm, part of the reason why not many guides exist for it is because of the limitations to the gem itself. Like, it's got mechanical limitations to it, so it's pretty tough to scale. A Trap Firestorm could be good if you could cover most of the screen. I mean, you can cover the screen with it. Covering the screen with it isn't the problem. It's layering it. I think it's got a max number of storms that you can have as active, and that's the problem. Wait, if we are losing damage from support, why are they lowering max level damage? Because Cow said they want to slow down the game and they want to hit us across the board. This is what I mean when I say it's inconsistent. Like, some things get buffed and some things get nerfed. I just feel like their actions are actually reflecting a company that really just wants to rotate a meta just because it wants to rotate a meta. If they genuinely hit things because it was too popular or because it made the game too easy or because somebody, one particular group or even one segment of the player base is just all playing it, then it would show up more clearly in the player statistics that we can track. And the player statistics that we can track based off of the ladder that's repopulated and displayed in a very pretty effect on POE Ninja, it shows that players play stuff that's really strong, and that stuff oftentimes stays really strong league to league. So, okay, Focus. Granted by certain veiled modifiers, now has a base cooldown of 8 seconds. The skill's cooldown can no longer recover during its effect. Frostblades now deals 175% of base damage and has 175 effectiveness, previously 140. General's Cry, supported skills now deal 45 to 36% less damage, was 45 to 30. Like, what's the point of tweaking that? There's got to be a specific encounter that they're thinking of, that they're saying, okay, this 6% less damage, this change is good for the game. Otherwise, why are you spending time and resources to do it? Stuff that's that minuscule, I'm like, what? It's like flame damage, 0.7 to 0.8. Okay. They must have data that says this is good for the game for what they're aiming for. Vento says, so out of my 4 League starter builds, only the weakest one got nerfed. The 3 strong ones are untouched or even slightly buffed. Nice. That's good news for you, dude. Was Glacial Hammer one of your League starters? By any chance? By any chance. Was Glacial Hammer. Because Glacial Hammer now deals 269% of base damage. 269. Nice. It previously was 215%, but now it's 269. Ground Slams now deal 188% of base damage. Previously 150. Heavy Strike is 313. It used to be 250. Hex Blast no longer has 25% less area damage. Okay. So Hex Blast got a little bit of a buff, but didn't Curses get a little bit of a nerf? I thought I saw Curses mentioned in the Balance Manifesto, but maybe I'm making things up. Ice Crash now deals 350% of base damage and has 350 effectiveness. Previously was only 280. Ice Storm, granted by Whispering Ice. Yep, it's now deals 3 to 5 per 10 intelligence. Previously was 2 to 4. Infernal Blow is 166, up from 133. Lacerate is 154, up from 123. Lancing Steel is 106, up from 85. Leap Slam is up 150, up from 120. Lightning Arrow no longer has the 10 to 29% increased effective lightning ailments. Now shocks enemies as though dealing 100% more damage at gem level 1, unchanged, up to 290% more damage at gem level 20, previously 195. Whoa! I could see that as interesting. Now deals 130% of base attack. It's just that's a large numeric. I mean, when we just went through a bunch of stuff that's like, hey, 20% across the board. Like gaining, what is that, 30%? Seems to be a pretty decent chunk. No, Glacial Hammer wasn't one of your starters? Oh, okay. Bummer. Well, you're really missing out, dude. You're really missing out. By the way, welcome, welcome. If you're just joining us, it's G3 Indiana here. Indiana Iron, as some have called me. And we are reading through the patch notes and reacting together. So it's a delight to have you. I'll tell you what, it's a joy for me to be back live streaming. The kiddos are asleep. The missus is playing with the new dog. And we're here reading the patch notes, having a little bit of a pipe. It's a great night. Now deals 130 of base damage. Previously 134. Okay. Interesting. Now has 130% effectiveness of added damage at gem level 1. Previously 110 up to 154. Previously 134. Okay. Lightning Spire Trap now deals 15 to 46. It used to be 12 to 36, so that's a buff at gem level 1. Up to 207 to 622 at gem level 20. That's a pretty good buff. It's pretty decent. It used to be 166 to 497. Strike frequency now scales with increases and reductions to trap throwing speed instead of cast speed. I think that's probably the best quality of life change onto Lightning Spire Trap right there. There's not many Lightning Spire Trap builds out there, but that's something. That is some legitimate quality of life right there. Was Indiana Jones from Australia? No, he was from Indianapolis, wasn't he? I think that's what it was. Johnny says, oof, 38 minutes into the stream, going to start from 0. Oh, you're a brave man, Johnny. Brave man going back in time. Crikey, if we go back in time, imagine, we'd collect all the treasure from then and the treasure we're collecting now. It'd be twice as much treasure. Lightning Strike now deals 225. Previously 180. Yeah, these numbers are all the same. Just in terms of the difference, percentage-wise, it's all like between 20 to 25%. That seems to be the vast majority of them, at least. So the Balance Manifesto, when they said, hey, we've pretty much moved the damage from support gems onto the base gems at this rate, at this amount, that it makes sense. Stronger pulses off of lightning tendrils now deal 100% more damage with hits and ailments. It was previously 50%. Molten Strike, did it get buffed? Yeah, it was 185 is what it's at now, and it was 148. Perforate now deals 213. It was 170. Reap now grants blood charges when triggered. Ooh. Reeve now deals 225. It's up from 180. Rolling Magma. Guys, I want to hear in chat. Who had Rolling Magma for League Starter? Anybody? Rolling Magma? No? Okay. Didn't think so. Seismic Cry no longer has exerted attacks. Yep, Seismic Cry just got smacked. They're like, hey, you know what? We just reworked melee like within the last year. Let's smack them, the best of the melees. But let's smack them just by smacking one particular skill. Okay. Oh, and Fortify as well. Let's kill that. Let's kill their defensive options. Okay. Now deals 65 to 98 physical damage at gem level 1 for Seismic Trap. That's up from 47 to 70. That is a pretty big spike there. Just at level 1, when you look, its high end used to be 70, and its low end now is 65. That's actually pretty big difference from the get-go. Up to 853 to 1280 at gem level 20. That's pretty big. The small bursts now have a radius of 9. It was previously 7. That's big. The large bursts now have a radius of 18, previously 12. Wave frequency now scales with increases and reductions to trap throwing speed. Where's the POE radius? Who has that? Who has the POE radius visual? Here we go. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Man, Google is an amazing tool. Or just searches in general. All right, let's see if I can pull that up. Can you guys see that? I hope you guys can see that. Let me know if you guys can see that. This is radius. It's talking about unit distance and radius. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what it used to be. And now it's going to be up to 9, right? Is that what it said? It's up to 9. It was 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's decent. And then the other one was what? 12 to 18? The large bursts now have 18, was 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So most of the screen, but now it's going to be 18, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I mean, it's off screening. Seismic Trap. Are you happy to see me, or is that just a seismic trap in your pocket? All right, Shattering Steel. Now deals 150% of base damage, previously 127. I warned you guys at some point throughout the stream, make sure you're wearing your headphones tonight. Was Seismic Trap ever used before? Yeah, other people were. Other people have used it. Other people have used Seismic Trap. I've seen a couple of different builds that have used it as a utility gem, more as a utility gem to proc other sorts of stuff. But I wonder now if that actually makes it legitimate. I am not an expert trap player. I'm not an expert player at anything, but definitely not a trap player. I would say much more of my expertise is towards minions and spell-based builds. Okay, Shield Charge now has the physical tag. Yes. That means that it gains levels from all the stuff that says physical spell gems. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's exciting. Now deals 16 to 25 base offhand physical damage at gem level 1. It was previously 16 to 24. Guys, it got 1 damage. It got 1 damage added. Hey, what's up, Emilio? It's good to see you, man. Welcome. Thank you for the kind words. Yes, I love the hat. The hat's quite nice. It's quite excellent, quite smashing. Up to 320 to 525. Previously 190 to 284. Okay, that's Zeno, where are you at? Zeno, are you in here? Are you updating your build guide? Go update your build guide. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to check in with all my shield charge bros. I'm gonna have to check in with them. There's one mad lad out there. There might even be more, but there's one mad lad out there who took down Cirrus with an Impale shield charge build. He does a great job of breaking down the build. I think we've recommended it in the past, maybe not. I thought we did recommend it. That was during the year where we were trying to recommend a build like basically every week or every other week. Now deals 3 to 4 added physical damage per 15 armor or evasion rating on shield at gem level 1, unchanged, up to 4 to 6 at gem level 20, previously 3 to 4. Okay. So it used to just be consistent across the board. 3 to 4, but now it does scale up at gem level 20. That's interesting. No longer has a 0.2% to critical strike chance per 10 maximum energy shield on shield. Okay. So we lose out on critting for using ES bases. Oh, I forget what the ES base is called. I can see it. I can see the artwork for it, but I can't remember what the name of it. Okay, Shock Nova no longer has ring, deals 50% less damage. Sigil of Powers no longer has 10% increased mana cost of your skills while in the area. Solren now deals 19 to 29 chaos damage at gem level 1, previously 16 to 24. Up to 494 to 741 at gem level 20, previously 448 to 672. Totak says Shock Nova basically now deals 25% more damage, right? Because of the sweet spot between the inner and the outer ring. That's the goal, I think, right? The ring no longer has the 50% less damage. I think. I don't want to say it's a more multiplier, though. You wrote more. It might be 25% increase. Or am I getting that wrong? I think I'm getting it wrong. I think you've got it right. I think it is more damage. It's definitely better than what it was. Does it mean it's good? No. That's what you'll learn about playing PoE. The more leagues you play something. Does something feel good in comparison to something else? No. I think that's really the larger picture here. Okay, do you guys want me to go to paint on this? Do you guys want me to go to paint on this? Just tell me no. If one of you says no, I won't go to paint. I'm going to go get a drink. If one of you guys says no in chat, then I'm not going to go to paint. If nobody says no, I'm going to go to paint in a second. I'm going to grab a drink and I'll be right back. Crikey. I had to go out on a long journey to get this drink. It was a dangerous and upsetting journey. I lost a lot of my hair, but that's all right. I still got my hat, got my pipe, and now I got my drink. All right, Peter said no, don't go to paint, so we won't go to paint. Quick, hide the no, says Jetstrike. Sorry. Peter said no. You guys can blame Peter. Maybe we'll go to paint later on. Of course I want paint. We better stretch this out for another 2 hours. I don't need to stretch anything out. This is 16,000 words. I can't stretch this out. I'm just going to die in this seat at some point tonight. At some point, I'm just going to be asleep and the stream's going to be going on. There's going to be PoE music in the background, and it's pretty funny. The point I was going to make, I won't make it in paint, so we'll just skip that rant. The point I was going to make is the more you play PoE, the more you begin to evaluate things in PoE by other things in PoE. So part of the reason why certain gems feel bad is not because the gems can't take down Cirrus or can't take down Maven or can't kill tier 16 100% delirium maps, or tier 18 or tier 19, right? Using the improved watchstones. That's not why stuff feels bad. Stuff doesn't feel bad because it can't do that content. Every single skill gem in the game, I'm pretty sure every single skill gem in the game that is an active, that has damage on it, you could figure out a way to make it work as your, if not as your main source of damage, as a part of your damage, or as a part of your skill setup to take on all of the content in Path of Exile. In fact, that sounds like an interesting challenge. Can you take down all of the content in Path of Exile with every skill gem? You guys pick a skill gem and we'll see if we can do it. That sounds like some fun challenge. But anyway, that's another day. Maybe we'll put that out as a poll at some point during 3.15. My point is that's not why gems feel bad in POE. Does that make sense? Emilio says, as an Australian, your accent is not too bad. Oh, that's great. I was going for New Zealand, but I guess that's that sounds awful if I say, well, it's on that side of the planet. That's like somebody speaking like Southern, like with a Southern accent from here in the United States, and then saying, well, I don't care if you don't speak with that accent. Doesn't every American sound like that? I mean, yeah. So that's, I don't want to speak out of turn here. That is a braver statement that I'm willing to make, says Totec. What's the brave statement? You have to recap me on that. But here's my point. The reason why skill gems feel bad, all right? The reason why skill gems feel bad in Path of Exile is because you play other skill gems in Path of Exile. And so you play Firestorm, but you also play it up against Blight, and you also play it up against Fireball, and you also play it up against Lightning Tendrils, and you also play it up against Flame Dash, and you also play it up against Righteous Fire, and you also play Righteous Fire up against Cyclone. Like, you play different stuff, and some stuff just feels worse for you. That doesn't mean empirically that some stuff is worse across the board. There are some things that are slower. Does slower mean worse? Well, if you enjoy it, then no, it doesn't mean it's worse. If you enjoy something, then you ought to do it. This is your hobby time. This is you playing a game. You ought to enjoy the time while you're playing a game. If you're not enjoying playing a game, then don't play it. Find something that you can enjoy. You've got that time that's set aside. Your employers don't have time over that. Your family commitments don't have time and sway over that. Like, your hobby time is your hobby time. So you ought to have fun with it as you're able to, right? You should do something that you enjoy. You shouldn't do something that you don't enjoy during the hobby time that you've got. So enjoy it while you can. But the thing that kills your enjoyment inside Path of Exile of using a particular gem is because you experience the enjoyment of other gems inside Path of Exile, and you just go, why would I play this when I could play this? And so when they're buffing stuff or nerfing stuff, it can sometimes be frustrating because something that you used to think was fun now feels worse, and so you have to change to this other thing. It's pretty simple psychology. It's pretty simple to go, well, I used to play this. It doesn't feel the same way, so now I have to go on to something different, and I don't want to do it for a lot of the time. Like that, nobody should be upset or confused that players are upset and confused when something that they deemed fun is now perceived as being less fun. Nobody should be upset or confused by that. It's pretty easy to understand. If somebody takes away something that you enjoyed having fun with, you're now having less fun. Okay. Boy, it's a good thing I didn't go to paint for that one, right? Thought we should save Indiana Iron. Oh, the brave statement was every skill can clear tier 19 maps. I'd love to see a series like that. I don't know if I'll have the currency to do every single skill, or if I'll have the time. Like, my goodness. There's so many active skill gems. But it'd be interesting to start it. It'd be interesting to put up a poll and to put up 5 different skill gems and say, you guys pick the gems, and I'll build around it. We'll see what we can come up with to take on all content. It'd be interesting. Emilio says, Australian and New Zealand accents are pretty close, some nuances with certain words. Okay. Are those certain words like down under in outback? I have noticed that actually. Out. The word out, O-U-T. I've noticed that in some of the streams like from Exile Con. I remember some of the delivery of the way how guys would say like shout out, or we wanted to make sure that this was out of our game, or we work this out. Like the way how folks from New Zealand would say out was different than other developers who are from different parts of the world who are a part of the team at GGG. That was interesting. All right, so Smoke Mine no longer has increased cooldown recovery rate, no longer has increased area of effect, now has a cooldown timer of 5 seconds. Yep, we knew that from the Balance Manifesto. Base radius is now 18, previous 10. Buff now grants 20% increased movement speed at gem level 1, previously 10, up to 29% at gem level 20, unchanged. So there you go. It's faster, but you've got a much longer cooldown timer. Spark gets a bit of a buff. Now deals 2 to 29 lightning damage at gem level 1, previously 1 to 29. Oh boy, so the bottom end damage is no longer 1, it's now 2. That's a doubling of the bottom end damage. Up to 70 to 1326 lightning damage at gem level 20, previously 63 to 1198. See, this is why I can't work in game development. I would just say, hey, it's 63. Why don't we just round it up to 69 and make everything 69? Nice. What's up, Diddy? Diddy says team up with other people to do it. Yeah, we could. We could. That would require me to actually reach out to a bunch of people, and it would also require a bunch of people to actually get back to me. Believe it or not, Diddy, a lot of the build guides that we recommended during the year that we recommended different build guides, one every week, that year, a lot of different builds didn't get featured because people contacted me back and said, hey, please don't feature my build, or they never got back to me with approval to feature their build. So I'm happy to work with other people, but then when things become a group collaboration, it's really tough to juggle a lot of schedules, especially for people who are just jerks like me who don't have as much free time as we used to. Okay, Spectral Shield Throw. SST's default behavior has been reworked to be more similar to the Divide and Conquer Threshold Jewel. Yep, we read that yesterday. No longer double hits against single targets in general. Now requires character level 28 to use. Gem level 1 previously was character level 12. So that's going to be up there with Cyclone in Act 3, right, is where it's going to be at. Now fires 3 additional projectiles, previously 13. Primary projectile now changed 3+ times. Additional chains now apply to both the primary and secondary projectiles. Interesting. Shard projectiles now deal 50% less damage, previously 75. Now deals 58 to 86 base offhand physical damage at gem level 1. It was previously 20 to 30. Up to 399 to 599 at gem level 20 was previously. That's doubling. They doubled the damage on SST. They doubled its base damage. It's probably because the support gems for SST really got smacked. Finger says, what are you thinking of as a league starter? I'm thinking of some strong builds. Sorry. I'm usually obtuse and secretive about my league starter. I find it to be more mysterious and intriguing. Usually, Finger, I come out with a couple of different videos this week. We try to do Balance Manifesto, we try to do patch notes, and then I try to do 1 to 2 different build collaboration compilation sort of videos showing off anywhere between, I think the fewest I've ever shown is 4, and I think the most we've ever shown is 12 different recommended league starters. And then I usually pick one of my league starters from those that I show off. I don't make recommendations for builds that I don't personally play or have not in the past personally played. It doesn't mean that if I recommend 12 different builds that I'm playing all 12 that league, right? It could mean that 6 of them I've played in the past and 6 of them I'm planning on playing that league or some ratio like that. Hey, what's up, Tinda? Wait until he gets to the support gems. That puts everything into perspective. Yeah, it's just going to be 20% across the board. Just like how everything is 20% here or 20 or 40% here, it'll be 20 or 40% across the board on support gems. Spectral Throw. Yep, 125, previously 100. Split Arrow, yep, it's 110. Splitting Steel, it's 210, used to be 168. Now requires 14 dex for use at gem level 4, previously 14 strength. Up to 68 strength and 98 dex to use at gem level 20, previously 98 strength and 68 dex. Okay, so they flipped it. Whatever. Static Strike is now 188 instead of 150. Stormburst, base radius now increases faster as the gem levels. Up to +4 to base radius at gem level 20 was previously +2. Okay. Storm Call. This is a really fun skill gem, by the way. FYI, Storm Call, really fun skill gem, really fun animation, really fun to watch stuff die to it. You should play Storm Call at some point. I don't know if it's this league, but you should play it at some point. It looks like the damage is getting moved up. Crit damage really got hit though with the change to diamond flasks, so you have to play around with that. What's up, Dezo? Dezo says, I'm staying until you get to support gem sections. I want to see your reaction. I mean, I'm going to be disappointing to you guys. We already know that support gems based on the manifesto are all getting hit. Right? We're reading the base skill gems right now, and everything's just getting hit across the board in terms of getting bumps of like 20 to 30% to maybe 40% at the top end. So I'm just assuming support gems are just getting murdered that way. Chaos Golem now has an aggro range of 50. Same for Flame Golem. Summon Greater Harbinger of Time, granted by the Torrent's Reclamation unique belt. Aura from Greater Harbinger of Time now provides 10% increased action speed. Previously 20%? Why? Why? Oh, because we want to slow the game down. Okay. Are Headhunter buffs getting hit? I'm just going to be a little whiny baby on this one. Are Headhunter buffs getting hit? Let me see. I'm going to cheat. I'm cheating, all right, guys? You guys can report me. Headhunter is not in the notes. It's not, okay? Okay? I'm going back to what? Stormcall? So Headhunter is not in the notes. So we want to slow down the game, but we're not going to do it with the single biggest speed cheese item that's out there. Bernard says, I hope you're not in a hurry. Yeah, Bernard, we took a look earlier. 16,000 words is what these patch notes are. These are the biggest single patch notes we've ever read before. Or they've ever released, at least since I've been reading patch notes. The next biggest one that we could find was with Metamorph, which was 11,000 words. And that was a long night. I'm very appreciative that patch notes came out earlier, at least for us here in the United States today. Sometimes we don't get patch notes until like 10:30 or 11. Today, patch notes, I think, came out at like 6. I was still doing family stuff, though, so I didn't get to read any of these ahead of time. So I'm just reading them all with you guys now. All right, so all the golems have an aggro range of 50. Stone Golem, his roll ability is now 50% faster. Increase the distance from enemies. Increase the distance from enemies Stone Golem has to be in order to use their roll skill. So if he's too close, he won't use the roll skill. So if he rolls from far away and he gets close to them, he won't reactivate the roll. Right? Because he's too close. That's an interesting update to Stone Golem. I don't think I like the roll skill that much anyway. You want the slam, so that's kind of interesting. Wait, so nerf everything to slow down the game, but not Headhunter? Dear God, Headhunter is going to be insanely expensive. I mean, that's... Chris has said several times that Headhunter is for the elite to chase. Then you can't talk about how people are trivializing content. I don't understand the Golem aggro range changes. Does it mean that they are aggressive by default now? No. GGG isn't interested in slowing down the game, says Chris D. They want to slow progression so that people need to play longer. If you have a Headhunter, you've probably already cleared the content. That's fair. I mean, I personally don't think they want to slow progression so that way people need to play longer. I would disagree with that. They want people to play longer, but I don't think slower progression is how you do that. Delirium League did not have slow progression, but a bunch of people played it. Now, granted, we were in the middle of a global pandemic and everybody was inside locked in front of their computer screens. Or not everybody, a lot of people. But players also loved Delirium. Can you imagine how bad the pushback would have been if Delirium would have been like Ritual or Ultimatum and everybody was stuck inside at their computer screens? Everybody would have hated it, and GGG would have had nothing but a constant hate train coming at them. I think players genuinely play more characters and enjoy their characters longer if they're able to push and tackle more content that's deemed more difficult content. Like, progression already slows down the further you push your character into the game. That's just, it's pretty natural, right? It literally takes you more time to get levels the further you go. I personally feel like, and I said this yesterday during the Balance Manifesto video, or maybe I said it yesterday during the reactions video, either one. I personally play Path of Exile because I want to see interesting interactions with my character. I don't play Path of Exile because I want to see interesting interactions by monsters. And I say that as a minion player, as a guy who loves watching monsters run around, right? But I like setting up my character such that I can create this little army that runs around and kills everything for me. That for whatever reason, for whatever sick and twisted things that are going on inside my bald brain, that's just appealing to me. So my progression, I feel like, is based on the character, not necessarily versus the entire game in and of itself. Like, if we go back to adding multiple playthroughs of the same content, do you guys remember that before 3.0 when you had to play through the game multiple different times? When you had to play through the multiple different difficulties? Like, I was fine playing through I was fine playing through the same content because my character was the thing that was changing, even if the content wasn't changing. You know, even if the content was still killing Malachi 3 times and killing Piety 1 billion times and killing Dominus 3 times and killing Hillock 3 times. That was fine. It was something that we were hoping would go away. Oh, absolutely. Give us the 10X story campaign, which they gave us. That was amazing. None of us thought when Oriath came out, by the way, that we were getting 10X. We all thought like maybe Act 6 and Act 5. Maybe. So that was amazing. 3.0 absolutely blew us away, and it's probably the major reason why I've stuck with PoE for so long, is because Grinding Gear Games has absolutely blown my expectations out of the water each time they've had an opportunity to. So I've really enjoyed the game because of that, and I've enjoyed the developers because of that. But still, I get into the game because I want to see my character develop and my character progress. And when there's no progression, when progression is too difficult, then I go, this isn't worth it. And I go and I build another character. This is why a lot of new players, or a lot of players who don't have as much time, will go and build new characters because they get the same high. Can I use the word high? They get the same high. They get the same rush from seeing a character progress. They enjoy seeing, I shouldn't speak about other players. I enjoy seeing a character progress. And so for me, there comes a point in time where it is more fun to play another character and see them progress than it is to keep playing my same character and know there's almost nothing else I can do to them to make them progress. Like, once you've built your best in slot character for everything, then you just go, there's really not, it's not worth it for me to continue improving them in this way or that way. Now, for some players are different, and everybody is motivated by different things inside gaming. And so I think that's a good thing, and Grinding Gear Games has built a game with Path of Exile that hits on a lot of different gamer motivations. That's why it's such a wide variety of players who play it. But I think this whole obsession with trying to make players tackle content and slow down their progression, it can be a turnoff. Like, when my characters aren't progressing and I'm not seeing new items that are worth it, or new currency that I can craft with, or new currency that I can use to trade in order to manipulate the economy and get my own new items back. Like, when progression is that slow, players quit. Players give up. There is such a thing as a challenge that players don't want to deal with. I feel the same way about progression. Yeah. Peter says the counter to that is the more mindless the mob at the gameplay, retention goes down. I don't know about that. I think every once in a while you've got to get one shot, or you've got to get reminded, you've got to get put in your place. Maybe you don't actually die, but you got to take some damage to remind you that, hey, that you're fighting challenging content. But I don't know. Okay, Sunder 275 used to be 220. Sweep 281 used to be 225. The number of targets that sweep can hit has been increased to 100. Guys, what if I league start with sweep? What if I take sweep all the way to Maven? What would you guys do? What's my motivation? What's the community motivation if I take sweep all the way to Maven? Oh, how masochistic can I get? Tectonic Slam now deals 275% of base damage, was 220. Vigilant Strike now deals 325, previously 260. I still don't like the wording of this. Like, since we read the very first one, it's like, just say both. Previously, both 260. You've got two categories here in the beginning of the sentence. Clarify that you're saying both categories and not the parentheses is about the second category. I don't know. Whirling Blades. Now, there's probably a grammarian out there who can correct me and be like, actually, Iron, you're completely wrong, and the reason why you do it this way. Okay, that makes sense. Onslaught on Jewels as well. That was 1C, the first item I bought each league. Nerfing Gems and Flasks. Nerfing Gems and Flask nerfs, the casuals. They're the cheapest items. The loot rework really needed to be a priority this league. Maybe it's coming in 3.17. I don't know, Dominic. That's a good point. James says, I suspect this league will be one where I try like 6 different builds and am mildly unhappy with all of them. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully you try a couple of builds and you have fun. I don't say that because of like any affiliation with POE. I just hope you have fun. I hope if you're playing a game and you get to your 6th build, you've had fun by then. If I play 6 games of League of Legends, if I haven't had fun after 5, I should stop playing League of Legends. If I have not had fun after 4 games of League of Legends, I should have stopped at the 3rd game. If I have not had fun after 2 games of League of Legends, I should have stopped after the first one. Guys, your lives are finite. I'm getting too real here. Crikey, I need to get back into character and start making 69 jokes. Like, your lives are finite. We're all going to die at some point. Oh my gosh, I'm going so existential here. We're all going to die at some point. You got hobby time right now. Have fun with the hobby time that you've got. There's plenty of other tragedies and sad things in life. Playing your games, playing video games, should not be a source of stress. If you get to 6 builds, I hope several of those 6 have been fun for you. That's my hope. Gatrim says, what, you want to sweep Maven off her feet? What would Mrs. Draconis have to say? Gatrim, bravo. Bravo. My name's Indiana Iron, and I'm here to sweep you off your feet, Maven. I like it. I like it. We'll pay a portion of your counseling if you do a complete sweep to Maven challenge. I'm going to need some counseling. Oh, man. Tinda says, League of Legends players have fun. I mean, I do when I'm playing an Ultimate Spellbook or URF, but not playing ranked. Minion damage nerf is an unexpected double nerf for my SRS popcorn starter I wanted to try, but the gem can just be replaced with another for almost the same damage. Yeah, minions are going to be fine. Emilio says, wait, I'm dying at some point? I mean, not you, Emilio. All the rest of us, but you're good. Jet Strike says, bruh, I like my job more than POE, but it's what my friends want to do. Jet Strike, you are a good friend. You are a good friend that is willing to suffer through something with another friend. That's a mark of a good friend. At the same time, I hope your friend is also willing to do the same for you. I hope that's a two-way street. There's almost nothing worse. There's a lot of other things that are worse, but there's almost nothing that's worse than being in a one-way relationship as a friendship. That's no fun. Vol Ancestral Warchief, now 154, was 123. Vol Cyclone, now 109, was 99. Double Strike, Vol Double Strike, now has a maximum of 8 summon doubles at once. What did it used to be? Vol Double Strike. What did it used to be? It's got a maximum of 8. It says doubles. But what's the max? Performs 2 fast strikes, each of which summons a double. Was it 4 or was it 2? I don't know. I haven't used Vol Double Strike. I genuinely haven't used it. Have not used that in years. Double Strike. Somebody that knows Double Strike, drop a comment. James says, it isn't that I'm not having fun. It's more that I tend to switch builds when I feel like I'm not progressing. See, exactly. So progression is key. Progression is key to retention. Progression to your character. I have played Path of Exile. I have taught friends Path of Exile. And we have been in Act 1 legitimately for an hour. Now, those of you who have watched me League start or watched me stream or watch me play, you know I'm not the fastest PoE player. But I don't take an hour to get through Act 1. Famous last words, right? Watch me this Friday just struggle to get through Act 1. It don't take an hour to get through Act 1. Generally. Right? That's not what it takes. We were in Act 1 for an hour, and then I had to wrap up our gameplay session. I was like, all right, I got to get going. Lots of things were being explained. My friend had a great time. My friend had a great time going through Act 1 and picking up bows on the beach before killing Hillock and items that were dropping on the beach and going, well, I'm not sure if this is really an upgrade. And I was going, well, it's okay. You're going to find other stuff like in the next zone that's better than this, so it's okay. And they were like, yeah, okay. They kind of have that more completionist mindset of wanting to full clear everything. And I get a lot of PoE players we have to train ourselves out of that completionist sort of thing. And this player wasn't going to do that in the first hour. It's okay. They hadn't learned that lesson yet. And that was fine. We were having a great time. They were experiencing character progression. They were learning, hey, this bow that just dropped is equivalent to the same bow that I've already got equipped. So that's not progression. Oh, but hey, you know what? This skill gem at this chest that's always here, that they don't know that, but we know that. This drops a support gem that I can now use with my skill gem. Hey, that's progression. They had never even leveled up, but within the first instance, the first encounter where they ever killed a monster, in that same zone, they were experiencing character progression. It wasn't that they were becoming a demigod and were, finally hitting level 100. But it was they were experiencing progression right from the get-go on their character. Hey, this gem I can now add to my build, and it does something for me. It's tangible. It has weight. Oh, let's use that expression. It has weight. Character progression that has weight. It really does matter. Okay, Emilio says 2. 2 is what we had for Vol Double Strike. Okay, so nice. Now you can have 8. Now deals 41% base damage. It's up from 33. Vol EQ is now 106. It was 85. Vol Flame Blast is now 140. Was 120. Vol Glacial Hammer is 250. Was 200. Vol Ground Slam now deals 375. Was 400. No longer always stuns enemies, and now has 25% reduced enemy stun threshold. See, this is what I'm talking about with the inconsistency on nerfs. Has Vol Ground Slam been a problem for several leagues? The numbers don't show that. The numbers don't say, oh yeah, people just go in and are using Vol Ground Slam left and right. The percentage of players don't show that. And the gameplay videos that are coming out don't show, or the streams that are coming out, and the discussions on the forums and on the Reddit, nobody's going, oh, GGG, we need to nerf Vol Ground Slam because it just trivializes all the content compared to the rest of the game. No one's saying that. Who at Grinding Gear Games is looking at Vol Ground Slam and going, that's trivializing all content, we gotta do something about it? I don't know. K-Trim says, completionistic tendencies took me 6 weeks to get through the 10x on my first playthrough. That's okay. That's okay. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, I think. Think General's cry sweep might be decent. I think it includes the word cry with sweep, which is probably what I'll be doing if I ever do play sweep. Vol Lightning Strike. 163 previously 130. Vol Reeve now is 313, was 250. Vol Spectral Throw no longer fires 8 additional projectiles. Crikey, what do they do to Vol Spectral Throw? No longer fires projectiles in a circle. Now fires 8 projectiles in each of 2 mirrored spirals. Okay. Do they just have artists on the team that they're like, hey, pick a skill and rework it artistically this league? Maybe they do. I mean, people are on payroll. You got to give them something to do. Now stores up to 1 use. It's previously 3. Oh, that's a bummer. Now deals 110. So that's down from 170. Now throws several spectral copies of your melee weapon. They fly out and then return to you in a spinning attack that damages enemies in their path. Okay. Doesn't impact my league starter. All right, support gem balance. This is what you guys have wanted to see all night, right? You've wanted to see me rage about this? You want to see me rage against the machine? Is that what I've heard? Maybe because people will be running Ground Slam with the new totem support and it needs to be balanced around it? Okay. That's fair, OM. That's fair. Is it OM or is it OM? Do you pronounce your name one letter at a time? But that there are times where, again, we haven't played the content yet. So I believe there are times where Grinding Gear Games is making a balance change because they've played something and recognized, hey, this and this in the future will be a problem. And so we're curbing that problem now. I get that. I'm with you. My concern and confusion is oftentimes, hey, you've said these things are a problem and this is the goal of what you're doing, and now the things that you're doing don't line up with that. Sounds like Demon Hunter's Glaive Throw from WoW. Oh, yeah, it does kind of sound like that. That's one of the skills that I rarely actually remember from WoW. Okay, added cold damage. I only played WoW for like 6 months, so the fact that my brain knows what you're talking about that's kind of scary. I thought I blocked most of WoW out from my memory. Quality on the anomalous added support damage support. Wow, let's start that over. Quality on the anomalous added cold damage support no longer grants supported skills have 0 to 10% increased attack and cast speed. It now grants supported skills have 0 to 10% chance to freeze. Okay. Added fire damage now has 130 cost, up from 120. Supported skill now gains 20 to 39%. Okay, so down 5%. Awaken added fire damage, cut in half from the increase, and then supported skills gain 40 to 44%. Okay. So at the top end, with awakened added fire damage, you will now deal what used to be the top end of regular fire damage. That doesn't sound that bad, guys. I mean, like, at the very top end, yes. Okay, so you can't do 200 million DPS anymore, but you can still do 100 million. Like, if the goal is to slow players down because damage is a problem, maybe they're just worried. Maybe Grinding Gear Games is like, you know what? If we actually came out and nerfed everything to the extent that we wanted to nerf everything, maybe everybody would leave our game. That doesn't seem that bad. Like, when you put it into those terms, Awakened added fire damage at its top level is now going to do what added fire damage at its top level used to do. And you don't need Awakened support gems in order to kill everything in the game. Like, you literally have to use non-Awakened support gems to kill Cirrus to get Awakened gems to drop. Unless you're playing in Trade League. It gets better, boys? Oh, okay. Oof, all of these mana multi increases causes mana recovery. Wasn't an issue. Just get mana leech. Just have leech. Additional accuracy now has 120 cost. Advanced traps, 130 cost. Ancestral call. Quality no longer grants supported skills have increased attack speed. Now grants supported skills deal increased melee damage. Okay. Awaken ancestral call. All right. 1 to 5% more damage. Previously 8 to 0% less. Quality can no longer grant supported skills have increased attack speed or extra targets for supported skills can be found. 0 to 20% further away. That's actually kind of a bummer for quality of life. It now grants supported skills deal 10%, 0 to 10% increased melee damage. Why did they hit Arcane Surge? I saw Octavian had a video on this. I didn't get to watch it. I saw Octavian had a video where he discussed Arcane Surge. What did he say? Did he say what the thought process was? Red, it is giant patch notes. It's over 16,000 words. We did the word count. It's 16,000 words. The next highest word count that we've ever done on patch notes reading was 11,000 back for Metamorph with the expansion. Everything else before that was like 8,000 or 10,000 or 9,000. This is 16,000 words tonight. It's ridiculous. Archmage. Supported skills now gain added lightning damage. Welcome, by the way, Red. Sorry I didn't say welcome. There are lots of shinies and iron is easily distracted. Aye. Crikey. Distracted? I'm distracted by treasure. Speaking of treasure, look at this treasure right here. Archmage support. Everybody was complaining about it. Apparently, I don't know who was complaining about it, but supposedly everybody was complaining about it. And so now a bunch of players in the community who thought, oh, that Archmage, that dirty little rat bastard, we got to smack that one on the bottom. It's not being a good boy. They just buffed Archmage a couple leagues ago because they said no one's using it. It's not even the numerical values. It's just we got to nerf it because everybody's using it. Statistically, not everybody's using it. No, shut up. Shut up. Everybody's using it. We got to nerf it. Okay. Nobody's using it. We got to buff it. No one's using it. Okay. Octavian was kind of optimistic in his video about Arcane Surge. Now I'm not so sure. I don't know. They hit everything. Why wouldn't they hit Arcane Surge? Did they hit Elemental Overload? That's my question. That's like the easiest league start ever. Just pick an elemental skill, go Elemental Overload, rush through all the acts. Supported skills now gain added lightning damage equal to 60% of mana cost if mana is not higher than the maximum you could spend, previously 70 to 108. It's a pretty big hit. Supported skills have base mana cost 5% if that value is higher, previously 6%. Can now support triggered spells, can no longer support arcane skills. Quality on the anomalous Archmage support now grants supported skills lose added lightning damage equal to 0 to 40% of mana cost if mana is not higher than the maximum you could spend. Previously 0 to 60. Yeah, that's a hit. And supported skills gain added cold damage equal to 0 to 40 if the mana cost is not higher, previously 0 to 60. Yeah, so it lost about a third. Yeah. Yeah. So Archmage got hit. Pretty heavy. I still bet you a couple of guys that I know are still going to go play Archmage and figure out a way to make it work. They'll still invest in it. Dezo says, Reddit was complaining about Archmage because Alkalizer one-shot endgame bosses with his build. Is there anything Reddit doesn't complain about? Like, Reddit as a vote aggregator system will just... People are more likely to upvote something that they like than they are to downvote something that they don't like. Like, people participate and interact with stuff that polarizes them on the internet, right? Or no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys are going to show me some scholarly article that says, no, actually, Iron, people interact with things that make them moderately engaged where they have reasonable opinions on things. No, most people interact with things that they have a strong feeling on, whether that's a negative feeling or a positive feeling, you got to feel strongly about something. If people are upset about something, they'll upvote it to the top. Even if people disagree with it, they're not going to downvote it. They'll just move on. They won't read it. So it gets upvoted. They're nerfing everything because they don't want us to kill everything in 1 second. But K-Trim, here's what I don't get. If that's their stated goal, which I agree, that's what they've said, that's their stated goal. What happens when people come out and are just blowing up Shapers Sunday and Monday night in Trade League? Will that have been a failure? Will the patch have been a failure? Will 3.16 come out and they'll say, we actually need to continue furthering this line of nerfing things because people are blowing things up, endgame stuff, within the first 3 days? Tinda says the last few days everyone on Reddit was complaining about people complaining on Reddit. Well, that's just joined the trend over here, right? Tinda, you've been around long enough. You know, we take our shots at Reddit every once in a while. So Mark says, guess we will all be running Defiance banners. Yeah, for mana regen. A lot of people are going to use Clarity. Welp, I never used Archmage, and now I'm definitely not. Yeah. Saying Reddit complains is a bit disingenuous. Lots of people on Reddit complain about everything. That's much better worded. That's much better worded. You have worded that much betterly. Just buff the bosses. That's the thing, guys. They just did that with Metamorph. Do you guys remember? I'm getting really close to the microphone because I want to have a close personal chat. Do you guys remember Metamorph League? That was last spring. Not decades ago. Not even years ago. Right? Metamorph, then Delirium. I got to be remembering this right. Yeah, it came out December of 2019 and ended March of 2020, and then Delirium followed it up. Metamorph League and that expansion was when they buffed monster defenses. Which, by the way, GGG says, and has said in the past, hey, we don't like to just buff things numerically. But then they do that. It just happens. There's inconsistencies. There's inconsistencies, and that's just the way how it is. Jungle says, the problem is that the majority of players don't one-shot things. That's the misunderstanding. Punishing all because of a bunch is unfair. K-Trim says, I foresee more nerfs in 3.16, 3.17, and 3.18. Okay, I'm with you. If GGG does that, if they're committed to saying we want the game to lower damage and we want people to really be progressing content rather than progressing characters, I get that. If they do that, then you know what I need to do? I need to, eat my words. I need to write words on a piece of paper and eat them. But I don't see that pattern of behavior. I see last summer them saying, hey, you know what we don't have in our game? We don't have really cool, interesting ways of limiting your RNG for personal crafting and for personally upgrading your gear. So here's Harvest. Well, you guys gave us Synthesis a couple years ago, but you took that away because you said it was OP. Yeah, don't worry. We're bringing Harvest back in. And Chris, during interviews prior to Harvest's release, said we think this is going to be broken and it might not even go core because of how good it is. Then why did you give it to us if you knew you were going to want to pull it back? Well, maybe they didn't know they wanted to pull it back at that point in time. Okay, what about Cluster Jewels, Delirium Cluster Jewels? Those were huge power boosts. I am still of the opinion that outside of Ascendancies, Cluster Jewels are the second most powerful thing as a mechanic that we have access to. Besides for Ascendancies. I think Ascendancies are the single biggest, most powerful thing. But even that's debatable in some circumstances, where Cluster Jewels might actually be more powerful in some circumstances than Ascendancies. Like, if GGG has had this feeling that power creep is getting too much, and that players have too much power to them, then why do they keep, not spoon-feeding, shoveling power creep down our throats? Like, you don't get to say, we wish that our game wouldn't be so fast. And we're going to keep giving you more and more tools to speed your character up. Like, which one am I supposed to believe? I believe they nerf everything to balance for PoE 2, so people will move there. Then everyone needs to buy all the MTX again. It's a business decision. Otherwise, why need to match them? Finger, PoE 2 isn't going to be that way. We keep all of our stash tabs. You keep all of your skins. PoE 2 is 4.0. There's nothing additional that you need to purchase. I'm sure there will be exclusive things to PoE 2. There will be new opportunities to purchase new things, but you don't lose anything from the original PoE 2, or from the original PoE to PoE 2. You don't lose anything. So I don't buy that. Maybe you're right, but I just don't see that. The ability to double up on notables is insanely strong, says Red. Yeah, I agree. Tinda says, I mean, just with a tabula and a good tree, you can one-shot everything up to yellow maps. Maybe that's not okay. Yeah, Tinda, that's an excellent example. This is why I don't get the who was it? One of you left a comment on one of the YouTube videos. The cognitive dissonance was what you described it as, which I actually looked that up because I was like, wait, I've heard this before. In some class. Okay, so cognitive dissonance. This is the definition of it. The state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. Right? Inconsistency in thoughts and behavior. Like if I told you guys, hey guys, I really want to stream more often. And then I never stream. If I never stream. Hey guys, I'm going to stream more often this league. And then I never stream. Which would you believe more? Would you believe my actions or my words? It's really tough to believe, hey, we want to slow the game down and we think players are too high on a power creep when they continue to give us power creep. It's tough to understand. Am I just talking out of my earlobe now? Am I just... Or is any of this making sense to anybody? Is my confusion about their communication and their nerf and buff cycles, is any of that making sense to anybody? That's just what I've felt for the last couple of days. Every piece of communication that comes out from GGG says one thing, and then we see what they do and we go, oh, that's actually a little bit different. Like, do they want, this is why I said the other day, I want to see what characters Grinding Gear Games wants us as a player base to play. That's what I want to see. I want to see what sort of characters they are prioritizing and what sort of characters they're going, yep, this is the character that we like at this play speed. I think it was somebody who made the comment, how many maps per hour is acceptable for Grinding Gear Games' balance team? Like, how many maps should we be able to run in an hour? It doesn't matter what map it is. It could be a speed map. It could be a linear map. We could be running the Strand from 5 years ago. We could be doing Burial Chambers. We could be doing Canyon. We could be doing something incredibly obtuse like Vol Temple or, Tower, the Tower map. Doesn't matter. The point is, when Grinding Gear Games looks at the data and goes, you know what, on average, players take 5 minutes to get through a tower map. Okay. Is that bad? 5 minutes through a tower map? What do you want it to be? What's the ideal? Is it 6 minutes? Is it 7 minutes? Is the ideal you just want people to take eternity to get through each map? Because that's not what your loot says. Your loot says, hey, we're going to give you so much loot that you never run out of stuff to do. I don't know. What is nerfing the game if Headhunter is still there? It negates all the nerfs. What do you think? Yeah, Mr. G, I'm with you. We said that earlier. We were like, okay, so they want to curb player power and player speed, right? So Headhunter's on here, right? And we looked. We Control F, looked for Headhunter. Headhunter's never getting a nerf. Somebody said, well, that's because the top end players need that as a chase item, and Chris recognizes that. Yeah. What if Chris recognizes that the biggest supporters of this game financially are also the players who want to go the fastest and put a ton of money into the game? Not me. That I am not included in that, by the way. I spent my fair share of several hundreds of dollars on this game, but I am by no means a big-time whale. But the big-time whales, they want to do their thing. Like, at some point, you got to make a decision. Are you going to make the game you want to make? Or are you going to cater to your audience? 6.9 minutes for non-tower maps for 20 minutes? Is that just because non-tower maps you can't get as high? Is that because you're ascending, you're climbing, you're getting higher in the tower? Oh. Aranova now has 160 cost and reservation. Quality no longer grants supported skills. Have 10% increased attack speed. All right. Who cares? It's a mana change. I don't care. Awakened Aranova. Yep, mana change. Okay. Projectile damage instead of increased attack speed. Ballista Totem. Did I say Ballista? Ballista Totem. Supported skills now deal less damage. Okay. 3%. Barrage. Mana change. And projectile damage instead of attack speed. Awakened Blasphemy. Quality no longer grants 0 to +1 to level of supported cursed skill gems. What? Now gains +1 to level of supported cursed gems at gem level 5. So you don't need to quality it. You just get it at the top level. Okay. Blast Chain Mine. Now has a 50% cost and reservation multiplier. Supported skill. Okay. I thought they said Blast Chain Mine wasn't getting nerfed. Or maybe they said all the other... It was all the trap support skills that weren't getting nerfed. Blind now has cost and reservation multiplier. Bloodlust. Supported skill now deals 25 to 39% more melee physical damage against bleeding enemies. It used to be 40 to 59. All right, so that's 15% on the low end and 20% on the high end. Yeah, so everything in here is going to be 20 to 40%. That's what they said. I believe them when they say their numerical values. Finger says, I really thought POE 2 was going to satisfy the elites that want more of a challenge, and POE would power creep to satisfy those that just like to blow stuff up. They're both going to share the same endgame, Finger. I'm not sure if you knew that or not. So in case you didn't know, they're both going to share the same endgame mapping system. They're just going to be two different ways to level up. Cowshead says, if they nerf the drop rate for Headhunter, people would just spam the belt. They might. Quantum says, friendly advice, if you don't pick up the pace, you are not going to sleep tonight. That's fair, Quantum. That's fair. Neil says, should I play Scuffed Quisitor or Guarbullion? Guabulchon? I can't even say that, Neil. Come on, man. You're killing me, Smalls. Bloodthirst. Mana reservation down in the more multiplier. Okay. Is this just across the board, guys? This is just across the board. Yeah, everything's going to be down 20 to 40%. Yeah, 5 to 15 instead of 10 to 29. Okay, cut it in half. Brutality. 25 to 39 instead of 40 to 59. Remember that melee rework? Oh, yes. Also, hi, Neil. It is good to see you. Yeah, everything's just going to have this same hit. Awaken Brutality. Now deal 40 to 44 instead of 60 to 64. I love this soundtrack. Do you guys not love this soundtrack? Path of Exile's got great music. Supported skills now deal 20 to 34 more burning damage, down from 35 to 54. Yep. 35 to 39, down from 55 to 59. COC now deals 20 to 29% more spell damage. Was previously 20 to 39. That's not bad. That's not that bad. COC is still going to be really strong. I mean, I should say, actually, let me make this a big dramatic thing. GGG, why did you nerf COC? Now I can never play my bow build that casts 1,000,000 frost bolts. It's going to be fine. It's still going to clear everything on maps. Cast on death. What a meme. Cast when damage taken now has 250% cost and reservation multiplier. Cast while channeling no longer has the supported triggered spells deal more percent damage. Ooh, interesting. So you don't get any damage bonus for cast while channeling. Okay. Quality on the anomalous cast while channeling. Support no longer grants. Supported skills have 0 to 10. Awaken cast while channeling. Quality no longer grants. Okay. Chain. Yep, it's got mana multipliers. Quality no longer grants. Projectile speed. It's now increased chaining range. Quality on anomalous no longer grants. Increased chaining range. Now it's increased projectile speed. They just swap stuff around. Your music is barely audible? Oh, good. It's just the POE music in the background. That's all it is. K-Trim says, okay, here's my take on the patch. GGG is doing a blanket nerf to player damage, reducing defensive mechanics, and reworking Flasks. I don't see how much actual balance changes, except to maybe traps and bows. That's fair. That's fair. That's a good summary, K-Trim. I'm with you. Crypto Knight says, thinking Elementalist, Reaper, Absolution, Herald of Purity might be strong. Haven't decided on a league starter yet. Also, greetings. Nice to see you again. Yes, it's nice to see you as well, Crypto. Yeah, I'll come out with a video. I'll probably work on it tomorrow. I'll make a decision trying to narrow things down throughout the day tomorrow as time at work allows. And then I'll work on recording the video Thursday, and then it'll be out Thursday night. That's probably. Awaken Chain. Yeah. Now deal 10 to 6% less damage. Previously 19 to 10. Okay. Chance to bleed. Attacks now deal 0 to 19% more instead of 10 to 29. Okay. Close combat. Supported skills now deal up to 25 to 39% more damage to enemies based on proximity. Previously was 40 to 50. Combat Rush now is 20% more attack speed to travel skills that are not supported. Previously was 20 to 24. Cold Pen, 20 to 34. Was previously 18 to 37. That's not that big a hit. Awaken Cold Pen. Like, guys, do you guys genuinely think that all of these hits across the board are going to make it so that way people don't insta-phase stuff? That's why I'm so darn confused. If they want to nerf things and they want us to slow down and nobody can kill things really quickly, or just a few select people can, then they'd really have to hit things a lot harder. Maybe I'm just used to back in the day when they would just be like, hey, you know what? Vol Pact gives you instant leech, and we're removing instant leech from the game. Or maybe I'm just used to when they were like, hey, you know what? Elemental resistances, we used to not have a max top-end elemental resistances that your build could hit, and so people were just becoming immune to elemental damage, and that's hampering us a little bit, so we're going to make it so that way your elemental resistances can actually cap at a max level of 95% or something, and then at 90% later on again. Maybe I'm just used to those sorts of big changes, and those are legitimate, hey, we're slowing things down, we're taking away this massive mechanic that we see as being problematic. And I look at this and I just go, these are slight numerical changes that really aren't going to be that big of a difference in the long run. This is why I'm not complaining about it because it's damaging my build. I'm complaining about it because I'm going, you said the goal was to slow things down. I don't think this is going to slow things down very much, but you're trying to hit everything. So are you really trying to slow things down? I just don't see this stuff as being that game-changing. From the numbers. Again, maybe we all get in and we're all just like sitting at Dominus with like full sets of gear and full 6-man parties. Like, I need a 6-man party to take down Dominus in Act 3. I mean, maybe so. I don't get why they're increasing mana costs. That's just going to frustrate people. Just run Clarity. Like, you can genuinely run Clarity for the 10-act story campaign. Vast majority of builds can just run a Clarity. Vast majority of builds are not reserving all of their mana and can't use it. Even if you're going MOM and you're playing hardcore, a lot of the time you still go Clarity. You'll still go with a low-level Clarity because it gives you a little bit of extra regen. At least early on you do. At least I do. Maybe I'm doing things wrong. You guys can tell me, oh, Iron, you play hardcore terribly. Well, that's true. Combustion. -10 to fire resistance rather than -10 all the way up to -19. That's okay. Guys, I'm just looking at this. I'm having a hard time getting worked up here. If it said, like, concentrated effect, previously 35 to 54, now 5 to 10, I'd be like, whoa, whoa. We're getting a fifth of the damage that we used to have. We're only getting 20% of what we used to have. But losing 20% of what we used to have, it's not even half of it there. 39 to 54, that's not even half. Will this be on YouTube from the beginning? Asked Shelly Barber. Yes, Shelby, it will be. As soon as we're done tonight, it should be available as a replay. Quantum says, your endgame power now is less than on a 5-link on many builds. So what if my build could take on an endgame on 4-link? That's not some weird kind of flex. I'm not trying to flex here. I'm just saying, like, what the stated goal. You are not adding all the nerfs together, though? Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. Rip Controlled Destruction. All right, Controlled Destruction. Now causes supported skills to deal 25% more damage and 39% more damage at gem level 20. It was previously 44. Now causes supported skills to have 80% less critical strike chance. Previously was 100% reduced. In a worst case scenario, you still just go, I mean, here's the thing with controlled destruction in the past. You always had to ask, okay, do I want to use controlled destruction in relationship with EO at all? Because even if I'm not critting that often, do I crit once every 8 seconds? Now, sometimes you could get around that simply with either your cast speed or attack speed, based on whatever you're trying to do, because you just, even if you had a 1% chance to crit every attack, as long as you have enough attack speed or enough cast speed, you're going to crit eventually, you're going to proc EO, and then away you go. I don't know, guys. Take on endgame is very subjective by what you mean to take, says Quantum. Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. And the endgame is different for everybody. Endgame for each player is different. My endgame is going to be less than the endgame for the vast majority of you. You guys are all actually good at PoE. I'm terrible at it. I just pretend to be someone who plays PoE. And occasionally I get to maps and go kill Cirrus and Maven and stuff and Shaper. But you guys actually play PoE. Usually you ran controlled destruction on corrupt builds as well, though. Yeah. Do we have a passive tree? Do we have the passive tree update or the passive tree comparison out yet? Does anybody have a link to that? Has anybody made the comparison yet? I know the last couple of times that they've come out with patch notes, I've been very upset because they haven't come out with a comparison passive tree. The end game is Act 3 docks, right? Yes, Red! Get to Fairgraves if you can kill Fairgraves. Is spell slinging dead? with the reservation, it's going to be a lot harder. Doesn't mean it's dead, but it's going to be a lot harder. You'd run Controlled Destruction on your 6th link and use your secondary skill to proc EO, I'd presume. Exactly. That's what you use. It used to be... OOS, Orb of Storms. It used to be Orb of Storms is what you used to use because it was one of the skills, it was one of the spells that most frequently hit and had a chance to crit. It had a high base crit chance. So you just drop that down with a, use it with a 3-link. Get the crit off, and then away you go, and then you got your EO going. Again, do you see what I'm saying, guys? There's lots of different ways. Path of Exile gives us a lot of different tools to get around stuff. Like, oh, well, you lose damage here. Well, I can buff damage over here. Like, numeric changes. We're all running around with, like, level 25 spells nowadays anyway, right? Right? Let's get real. Once we get to maps... Right? I remember when Poet's Pen first came out. Every 25 levels, you get +1 level to your skills. To socketed skills. Oh man, that's pretty good. That's like +3 levels. Like once you get to maps at level 75, that's pretty good. We're all running around with +3 to levels on our stuff. Sometimes while we're still in the 10x story campaign. Sounds like another dominating blow Herald of Purity League for me. Has anyone in chat played it? Yeah, Shelby. I've played Dominating Blow. It's pretty fun. I played it on the Guardian, I believe is what I did. I believe I played Baylor Mage's version of it. Baylor Mage has got a great video out there on that, or an old video. It's not going to be updated, but speaking of fast-hitting spells, I'm extremely sad about what they did to Firestorm a couple of leagues ago. Yeah. Everything got nerfed. Just keep reading. You'll see. Quantum, what I'm saying is I'm used to this. This is what GGG used to do every single patch was hit numbers across the board. And yet, what I'm saying is the itemization that they give us, the crafting options that they give us, the endgame itemization and the farming techniques and the currency that's available to us to craft our stuff, it still doesn't matter. I don't know how else I can say it more clearly. I'll try to think on it. Supported skills now have 0 to 19% increased effective cruelty, previously 10 to 20%. Oh no! Supported skills now have 15 to 24% more damage with hits, previously 20 to 29. Oh no! Maximum cruelty effect is now 40%, previously 50. Culling Strike, quality has now been changed. We don't care, that's fine. It's not a big deal. Damage on full life now has increased mana cost. Supported attacks now deal 20 to 34% more damage while on full life, previously 30 to 49. Oh no! How many of you were using damage on full life on your builds anyway? Anybody? Occasionally, some of us. I feel bad for cast when damage taken builds. All the memes are going to be dead. No, they won't. The memes will just take on a different form. Memes can never die in Path of Exile, but they can take on a different form. Craig says, thank you, thank you, thank you. We still have plenty of tools. Yeah, there's a million tools. Guys, do all of these nerfs really mean that your level 25 skill gem isn't going to be able to kill the stuff you wanted to kill? Quantum says, well, Chris said this is the first step, so I think you will get your wish. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this is a continuing trend. Neil says, Balance Manifesto suggested that endgame crafting got partially nerfed. Yeah. Yeah. Julian says, I am. Oh, you use damage on full life? Okay, that's fair. Raise his hand in shame. I use damage on full life on a totem build. Ha ha! There you go, Totek. Deadly ailments. Supported skills now deal 30 to 44% more damage with ailments. I guess maybe let me put it to you this way. Maybe because I am such a summoner addict, I am used to different things getting nerfed and changed, and I'm used to summoners being the Swiss Army knife of Path of Exile, and you can just fit damage in and kind of like morph things in as you need it. And as this thing gets nerfed, or that thing gets nerfed, or this crafting mechanism gets nerfed, or this cluster jewel gets nerfed, or this ascendancy gets nerfed, it doesn't matter. You can still take on the whole game. You can figure it out. Deadly ailments. Supported skills now deal 30 to 44% more damage with ailments. Previously 45 to 64%. Supported skills now deal 80% less damage with hits. Previously 10%. Ooh. That's not that big a deal, because Essence Strain doesn't really kill off the hit. At least for Essence Strains. Viper Strike, that matters though, because your hit is what your poison is based off of. That one's a pretty big hit to hits. So Deadly Ailments. Okay, I'll give you that one. That's a pretty... See, this is the sort of gap I'm talking about. Previously 10, now 80. That's a pretty big hit. That's a pretty big hit. But again, 20% drop. Okay, Efficacy. No longer has supported skills deal 10 to 20% more spell damage. Supported skills now have 15 to 24 increased duration, previously 10 to 16. Elemental Army. Oh, we're getting to minions. Minions from supported skills now deal 10 to 19% more elemental damage, down from 20 to 29. Okay, that's fine. My level 26 specters will somehow make it. Elemental damage with attacks. Supported attack skills now deal 20 to 34% more elemental damage. Was 35 to 54. Now deal 35 to 39. Previously 55 to 59. All right, so it's a hit. It's a hit, but if you weren't getting to max level awakened elemental damage with attacks anyway, if you weren't getting to max level, then you weren't ever using this anyway. So for players who want to say, well, the vast majority of players can't reach endgame and don't reach endgame, then the vast majority of players won't be affected by awakened elemental damage nerfs to support gems. Aren't all ailments based off of hits? Yes, I was just thinking about Essence Drain and its dot. Essence Drain has dot damage, right? That really doesn't matter that much. Like, the life that you heal back, right? Am I remembering this right from Essence Drain? The life that you heal back is based off of the hit? Where is it? Essence Drain. I'm looking it up. Fires a projectile that applies a damage over time debuff when it hits. You are healed for a portion of the debuff damage. The debuff is spread by contagion. Yeah, see, it has a hit value that is separate from the base chaos damage per second degen. So again, deadly ailments like, oh no, my hit doesn't do any damage anymore. Yeah, but your dot does damage, and you're scaling dot multi. You're not scaling your chaos damage generic hit. So Essence Drain is still fine. Yeah, I get Essence Drain is not an ailment. I get that. I'm trying to think of scenarios in which deadly ailments... I get that. I'm trying to come up with scenarios where deadly ailments can still be used. That's what I'm trying to do. Sorry if I didn't make that clear. Okay. Elemental Focus. 20 to 34 was previously 30 to 49. This is not that bad. This is not that bad. Maybe I'm just in complete denial. What do you guys think? Is that possible? Am I just in complete denial? I'm just so shell-shocked by all of the nerfs that I'm in complete denial and I can't accept how terrible Path of Exile is going to be as a game now. No, GGG, you've ruined my favorite game. So far, I'm just happy. My builds haven't really gotten hit yet. Yeah, Essence Drain is definitely fine, but you don't use deadly ailments with Essence Drain. Yes. Ignite got a big hit. Sure, because if everything's coming down off of it, off of the hits, if all of your hits do less damage, then yes. Standard doesn't exist for me. Well, that's fair. Elemental proliferation. Oh, here's elemental pen. 14 to 28. That's not bad. Down from 13 to 32. Elemental prolif. Only mana multiplier. Empower. Mana multiplier. Now that's going to be tough for aura bots. Okay, that's the first one that actually has me raising my eyebrows. Not that I would ever play a filthy aura bot or aura stacker. Not that I would do that. I thought you were just trolling. Yeah, I was trying to think of a scenario in which a hit doesn't impact the skill's damage. That's what I was trying to think of. I think you're right. I think everything is ailment based off of hits. I think every ailment is. I think that's where we get ailment damage from. Okay, which, by the way, is part of the brilliance, I think, of cold ailments that are slowing effects rather than damaging effects. Because if you're going to have cold be your lowest dealing damaging element, then it kind of makes sense for its ailment to not be a damage-based element sort of thing. It makes sense for it to be more of a utility thing. Endurance charge on melee stun. Yeah, I think the Empower is actually... That's more scary to me. Because it's so tough to fit in all of your different auras that you need to fit in, either as an aura stacker or as an aura bot. So any more mana cost for empowers and for pushing your auras up, that's kind of a scary thing. As an aura bot, oof, yeah. All right, endurance charge on melee stun, mana cost. Energy leech, supported skills now deal 10 to 14% more damage while on full energy shield, previously 12 to 24. Supported skills now deal 15 to 24% more damage while leeching energy shield, previously 20 to 39. See, that's closer to half. That's that 40% nerf. That's a lot closer to a 50% nerf than it is a 20% nerf. That's pretty heavy. Julian says doesn't matter, and if the cost is too hard, you just run March of the Legion and poof, no longer mana reserve problem. Yeah. The poison strike skills, damage hits don't do very much. I seem to remember on my Viper Strike they did something. Yes, the poisons eventually stack up, but at least on initial hit. Maybe that was just relatively early on. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Of relatively early on, I was hitting stuff and stuff was just dying instantly. I could be wrong, though. Maybe I need to play more poison builds. Is that what you guys are telling me? Do I need to go play an ailment build this league? The only problem I see is that good supports will still be good and bad supports now cost even more mana. Yeah. That's what was funny about none of the quality of life supports getting buffed. Like, if you're slashing damage to bring damage supports down, then players will still just use the damage supports because the quality of life supports that they want us to be using aren't any more attractive. Like, in what scenario, if you're playing Heavy Strike, in what scenario do you go, well, now I don't want to use damage on full life. Now I want to use multi-strike. Or something like that. I don't even know if you can use multi-strike with Heavy Strike. My point is what is a scenario where you were borderline between quality of life gem versus damage gem? Ignite sweep, let's go. Jungle says the thing is you have to take into consideration that you have the sum 40% damage times 5 support gems, so you get more than 80% less damage across the board on your main skill. Yeah? Jungle, have you ever seen the videos where folks go in and take all of their support gems out and then kill Shaper? Have you guys seen those? Have you guys seen those? Where somebody goes in, they're not doctoring the footage, they're not cutting, they're not splicing. They go in, they say, hey, I'm taking all my gems off, or I'm even weapon swapping, and I'm going to kill a Shaper on a 1 link. Or I'm going to kill the Uber Elder on a 1 link. Quantum says, in skills that require quality of life support to even function well. Yeah, exactly. Those are the only times where you're like, oh man, should I even use quality of life or damage? Which in those scenarios, you're going, hey, I don't even want to play this skill if I don't have the quality of life to begin with. So the nerf to damage didn't really do anything for you there, right? It didn't decide more quality of life for you. Yeah, but that somebody isn't me, Jungle. Okay, that's fair. So Jungle, let's get specific. Let's get specific. Jungle, what's the top end boss you've killed? Like, what's a boss that you say, hey, I am very glad that I'm able to take on this boss with your build from the previous couple of leagues? It could be Dominus in Act 3, or it could be Maven. Either way, what was the monster that you could kill that you now fear you won't be able to even reach? What is that? What's the delineation there? If it's Dominus in Act 3, do you think it's because you won't be able to make it to Act 3? If it's Shaper, do you think it's because you won't be able to progress from yellows into reds? Or you won't be able to go from whites into yellows? Like, where exactly do you feel like your character is going to get hard stuck because of these changes? Because I'll tell you what, a lot of people, myself included and others, this league are going to make it our mission to go out and play a bunch of builds and go, look, guys, you can play this build, and this build will take you through the end game. Here's the sorts of gear you need to play. Here's the sorts of gems that you need to use. Here's the sorts of tree that sort of leads to look like. Here's the sorts of items that you're looking for. You go follow this recipe. You can go take on content. Max was Cirrus level 7, I think. Red said, for me, it's Cirrus Awakener 7. Okay, great. So set yourself a goal. Set yourself a goal this league. All right, set yourself a goal this league. Can you reach the same spot? Can you reach it? But usually I hit the hard wall on red maps. Okay, you got to ask the question then. In red maps, is it because of defenses? Is it because of offenses? Is it because of speed? Is it because of player skill? My point is in a game that allows you to gear check a lot of different things, there's a lot of different opportunities, not just in skill gems, to gear check your way past things. It's not, your player power is not built into just these support gems. You can get a lot of damage from a lot of other places, especially if you're melee. You can get out of your weapons. You just go blow things up on a 1 link because you got some stupid 600 PDPS axe. I would like to find builds that can smoothly red map on 4 links. All right, you can Google that. I just Googled red maps on 4 links. I just Googled that just now. From September of 2020, Strong League starter, cold dominating blow, red maps on a 4 link. Bada boom. 3.12, Heist starter, Bane Occultist, red maps on a 4 link. That was from September of 2020 from Vile Predator. YouTube, Path of Matt, how to be in red maps in 12 hours in a new league. You don't have a 6 link in a new league yet. That's from June of 2020. Easy Map Sustain Guide. That's from Big Ducks, but that's not about being on a 4 link. POE Spellslinger, June 18th, 2020. Spellslinger Soul Run Guide. Red maps on a 4 link. People come out with this stuff every single league. That's my point. That's my point, right? And it's through multiple leagues. So it's not just, oh, well, that was just Harvest, or that was just Heist, or that was just Ultimatum, or that was just Ritual. It's like a tried and true thing in PoE for people to be able to take on content with as little possible power as possible, because some players like that sort of challenge, and then when they accomplish it, they want to show it off. Enhance, mana multiplier, faster attacks, mana multiplier, faster projectiles. Yep. You got the quality nerf swap around. Fire penetration, 20 to 34. Same thing as everything else. Same thing for Awakened Fire Pen as there was for Gold. Fist of War. Ancestrally boosted slams now deal 70 to 98% more damage with hits. Previously 110 to 148. Now see, that's a pretty big hit. But I'll just remind us, we didn't even have Fist of War this time last year, did we? When did Fist of War come into the game? Shelly Barber, Righteous Fire comes to mind. Put everything in a helmet, says Gray. Yeah, that's fair, but you know what? Righteous Fire helmets are like, seriously, like mirror tier gear when you get the 4 link with the +2 link. I mean, you can still play Righteous Fire, which is one of the builds I might be playing. But, you know, you can still play it without the mirror tier helmet with a bunch of extra damage and still do a lot. But burning damage did get hit, so that'll be something. Okay, what was I going to look up? I was going to look up Fist of War. I better be careful typing that into Google. Yikes. Fist of War. I'm going to pull up Google images of people giving each other the finger in New York City while they're driving. All right, when was this introduced to the game? When? 3.11. Okay, so we're in 3.15. So, Ultimatum, 3.14. Ritual, 3.13. Heist, 3.12. Harvest, 3.11. Harvest was last summer's leak. So a year ago, we got Fist of War. I don't think we can complain as players. I don't think we can complain and say, oh, look at the nerf here. A year ago, we didn't even have Fist of War, and people were still trying to play melee builds like this. Craig says, in this league, 4 to 5 links are more powerful relative to 6 links. Yes, because they're bringing the base damage up on skill gems. This means you get more value out of leveling and pumping the levels into your base gem. Do you remember about a year ago when they redid Melee and they're like, hey, you know what? Melee skills across the board don't have enough damage on them. So we're going to add scaling leveling onto Melee gems. Guys, I don't know if you know this or not. A lot of you are new to Path of Exile. At one point in time, attack gems did not have serious amounts of damage on them. Because attack gems, in theory, in their game design, were supposed to scale more off of your weapon than they were off the gem level. It was spells that were supposed to scale off of the gem level, not the weapon. And then as they've tried to bring Melee up, as more and more players through more and more different leagues have complained about Melee's lack of viability, they've added power into the gems. Gray said years ago we had pre-necro minions and we still did summoners. Yeah, I was running zombies when I didn't have level 25 zombies. I had level 18 zombies running through red maps, dying occasionally in red maps, resummoning them until we got to level 20 and really made them really beefy guys, and then they wouldn't go down. My point is that we don't got to panic. Right? I'm seeing all these. I get that some of you are like, oh, I just can't wait to see your reaction. I mean, have you ever been with a friend who just fakes things? Do you want me to be a friend who fakes things, or do you want me to be honest with you? We didn't have Mark feeding. We had minion life and damage. Yeah, we just had generic minion damage on the tree. We didn't have cluster jewels, for crying out loud. Did we forget that they already buffed endgame bosses' health by a factor of 10 in 3.9? Yeah, we brought that up earlier in the stream, right? In Metamorph. And guess what? We still kill it all. We still kill it all. Do you guys not remember how at 3.9 people said, oh, Necro's going to be dead because of their change that they did from Blight League to Metamorph? And then it got better? And then people said, oh, it's definitely going to be dead in 3.10. What was 3.10? 3.10, what was that? What challenge league was it? Was that Delirium? Yeah, it was Delirium. Coming off a Metamorph, right? Necromancers were supposed to be dead, and then you saw people running around with their specters inside the Delirium. And then we didn't even have the specters that we're using nowadays. We just had slave drivers. People were running into what's it called? What's the Delirium encounter where you fight the bosses in the hideouts or in the towns? Simulacrum. The Simulacrum. We went into Simulacrums using slave drivers, and people were killing stuff. Then during Heist, right? It was, oh man, everybody's using, who was it? Was it the, the Syndicate guy, Syndicate operatives. Everybody's using Syndicate operatives. And then people were like, oh, well, what about Frost Auto Sentinels? And then here's my point. We constantly have new sources of player power, even though there's nerfs along the way. I'm not trying to say that we're going to see, so don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that we're going to see players exceed their power levels from previous leagues on similar scales to previous leagues. But what I am saying is it's not as bad as people are painting this out to be. Again, even taking all of the support gems into consideration. Quantum says, well, if you are right and we are still OP, GGG will not stop until we are no longer OP. At some point, they will actually do it. I guess that's just where we disagree, Quantum. Back in the day, we had Vol Pact and we had Instant Leech. Players didn't think the game would survive. Everybody ran Vol Pact. Percentage-wise, it was a huge percentage of players that ran Vol Pact. It didn't matter what sort of build you were playing. You grabbed Vol Pact. People think MOM and Archmage is a problem right now. Do you guys remember aura stacking from Delirium? Where like 39% of the league was running Guardian. 39% of the ladder was running Guardian. Do you remember that? That's a player popularity power problem. Right? So GGG went in and nerfed it, did a lot of things, did a lot of changes. People, oh man, aura stackers are never going to make it past that. Guess what? Then we had Transcendence. Players still aura stacked. Players still had Transcendence. I had that Transcendence character during Heist that was absolutely bonkers. I think that was the best character I've ever made. And that wasn't even using Harvest Crafts. Harvest took a break during Heist. Shelby, that's a great way to put it. The occasional power squish does not kill an 8-year-old game. Yeah. Delirium aura stacking killed POE for me. Yeah. It made it really tough to feel what that power level was like and then to have it removed. That was tough. There was also Infinite Immortal Call where that buff never ran out. Yeah. Yeah. There's just been a lot of things. Like, I've played near perfect elemental immune, not just elemental ailment immune, elemental damage and physical damage builds. I've played those before. Those have gone away, and PoE has still been fine. This is why my problem isn't, oh no, they're nerfing our things, our pretty things, and we're going to have less damage. My problem is they say they want to slow the game down. I don't think this is going to sufficiently slow the game down. Immortal Man nerfs were required. Oh, I agree. It was absolutely stupid. You should not be able to just be immortal in PoE. But I'm also of the opinion that I think patches should come in 4 times a year. That's what they originally designed PoE to do, is have 4 major patches. And so if you figure out a build that's immortal during one of those patch cycles, you should just get to play it. That's on the developers for not fixing it, but that's a whole other issue. If anything is exciting to chance to try to break it again, yeah, exactly. That's part of the appeal of Path of Exile is, oh, they're nerfing these things that I normally would pick, so now I've got to think outside of the box and try to figure something else out. That's part of the puzzle of PoE. It's part of the allure. It's part of the draw. For some players. Maybe not for you, but for some. Okay. So 10 to 19% more melee damage, down from 20 to 34. 10 to 19 with ailments, again, down from 20 to 34. Now gains +1 to level up supported aura skill gems at gem level 5 for Awakened Generosity. Okay. GMP, we read this one during the Balance Manifesto, right? Yep. Oh, hey, that mana cost actually came down. Guys, do you see that? I think that's the first one that's come down. It used to be 165, and now it's only 160. Guys, GMP got buffed. This is the actual bow league, guys. This is the league to play bows. Greater Spell Echo, granted by Pledge of Hands. This is one of the ones that we were worried about getting nerfed alongside with Archmage. Now has 160 cost. Now has 30% more spell damage per repeat, previously 35. That's not that bad. Greater Volley, mana multiplier, Hex Touch, mana multiplier. Ooh, that's a big change. 140 to 100. Quality no longer grants Hex Touch. Hex is applied by supported curse skills have 0 to 10% chance to affect hexproof. Okay. Was anybody running Hex Touch but not playing Occultist? How many players were doing that? Like, was it really that big of a problem? No longer grants supported skills can apply an additional curse. Now that's a bummer. That's a big mechanical change, because you want that. You want multiple different curses. So now you got to give up an item slot, and you got to go for like a Deodre's ring or something, or figure out another way to do it. Cluster jewels were some of the biggest power creep I've ever seen. Yeah, I agree. Power squish isn't occasional anymore. It's a trend now. Logan, they used to do this all the time. That's my point. Like this, in terms of if they're bringing the nerf back, this is why people are like, oh well, if they do this in 316 iron, and if they do this in 317 and 318, oh boy, you're gonna be sad. No, this is what they used to do. They used to just come in and say, hey, what's the best thing out there? Oh, it's build A. Build A is destroyed. Have fun. This is where the Grinding Gear Games hates fun meme originates from. Like, imagine the unique items from your build, the passive points on the tree from your build, the Ascendancy choice of your particular build, and then maybe the method even of acquiring things for your build, like maybe the crafting or the div card drops from your build. Imagine if all four of those aspects of your build, acquiring things and then the actual power level of the things that made your build, imagine if they all just once every 3 months got absolutely obliterated. That's what GGG used to do. I want to say prior to 3.0. And maybe even prior to 3.10. I want to say during Blight League we got some pretty heavy hits. And even prior to Blight League, well, Synthesis as well, we got some pretty heavy hits. Right? Rest in peace, Winter Orb. Winter Orb was popular for one league, and they killed it. They didn't just give it some tweaks. Oh no, 20% less damage. What are we gonna do? No, they were like, hey, what's the mechanic that makes this thing tick? Oh, it's the frequency of which the projectiles fly out, the number of projectiles that fly out, and the quality of life of the feel of playing this gem. Yeah, let's take a hammer to that. If we break that, like if these changes to me are like if a mob boss takes somebody out and is like, hey, you haven't paid your protection money in a long time. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this piece of paper and I'm going to rip it up in front of you. Do I get my point across? You're like, oh, are you gonna tear me up if I don't pay? No, I'm just gonna bring you back here and I'm gonna rip up more pieces of paper. Like, that's what this is. Is it annoying? Is it inconvenient? Does it make you think of other possible alternatives? Sure, it does all that. Is it a game changer? No. What GGG used to do was be the mob boss that said, hey, you're late on paying me. You're like, yeah, I'm so sorry. And as you were saying, I'm so sorry, they take a baseball bat to your knees, and then you're in the ER and you can't walk. That's what they used to do to builds. So, like, losing 20 to 40% damage, I don't care. I don't care. Because we can all survive. And if you can't, then you're going to be looking for an Orobot who's going to buff your damage. So... Oh, the concern is the number of one-shot mechanics, especially now that it will take longer to kill enemies, as well as the buff to rare bosses' health in conjunction with these changes and on-death effects. That's fair, Terry. And that's something that a couple of us have voiced I feel like pretty consistently to Grinding Gear Games in feedback, in videos, and in discussions on Reddit and on the forums, where we've said, look, can we have some defensive layers? Can we have those back? Like I said earlier tonight about Fortify. Hey, why are you killing Fortify? Like, why? You can take the damage away from Fortify. That's fine. But can't we have Fortify effect? Can't we stay alive? Like, it was one of the opening lines of the Balance Manifesto. Hey, players aren't seeing enough of the animations of monsters. Like, we want you to see and interact with the monsters. Okay, so give me defensive layers so that way when a monster hits me, if I do make a mistake, my gear and my character protect me and make it a little bit more forgiving. Also, is this Clarity League? Yeah, run Clarity. Run Clarity. Run Clarity and run it often. Run it early and run it often. Okay, high impact mine. Now has 50% cost. Supported skills now deal 35 to 28. Was previously 30 to 20. I guess I'm a big disappointment to a bunch of you. I guess you were hoping I would rant more and be more upset. This actually appears to be consistent. Patch notes tonight seem to be, yeah, we said yesterday we were going to nerf stuff by about 20% and we're doing it. That seems pretty consistent. Which, our opening question from the night, for those of you who weren't here at the beginning of the night, when it was crikey, welcome, Indiana Iron here, and I'm going to capture some treasure on the Expedition League. At the beginning of the night, we asked the question, hey, are we going to end up more confused by patch notes than we were by Balance Manifesto? And I think the answer is no. This all seems pretty straightforward. If they want the game to be slower, they actually need to do more than this. That's my opinion. They need to do more. If they really want us to slow down, I don't know what the level of speed they want us to be at is, but if they want us to slow down, they need to hit us with some more stuff. What if they just said, hey, attributes requirements for all items go up by 10%? That would be obnoxious, because now you actually can't put more passive points into your tree to give you power. You've got to put passive points into your tree, and you've got to use item slots to give you stats to use other item slots. That'd be obnoxious. That would take away some player power from the passive tree and from your itemization. But generic damage smacks. Immolate. Okay, mana cost. The mana cost, to me, across the board, that actually might be a bigger deal than the damage. It might be. I don't know. We'll have to see what it feels like. Depending on the skill. There are some skills that really depend on mana leech, some attacks that I've played, where you just run out of mana, and you make a mistake, and then you're out of mana, and you can't leap slam, you can't jump, you can't do this, you can't do that. So you got to put it so that way your mobility skill costs you life, something like that. Impale no longer has supported skills deal 5 to 15% more physical damage. Supported skills now have 0 to 28% increased Impale effect. Okay, that's pretty huge. That's almost cutting Impale effect in half. Supported skills now have 60% chance to impale, previously 40%. So greater chance to impale. So ideally you have to use less passive points on the tree to get chance to impale. So they're upping the quality of life while lowering the damage. Okay. Those of you that are like, hey, oh no, now we no longer have the 30% physical damage reduction overwhelm. Guys, we didn't even have that stat in the game a year ago. We didn't have the ability to overwhelm anything a year ago. This is the calmest you've been reading patch notes, says Tinda. This is Bizarro World. Red says, now I'm here for experienced insight into what the changes affect. Well, I'm not sure if... Maybe experienced is the right way to put it. I'm experienced in POE. I'm not good at it. I'm not smart about it, but I have played it a bunch. Doesn't mean I'm going to have the right opinion, though. All right, increased critical damage. Supported skills now have 100 to 138 to critical strike multiplier. Was previously 75 to 103. Quality, like this is just a buff to crit damage, right? Which they said yesterday. It's just straight buff. I think the catch is that they will use the nerf hammer over the next few leagues to progressively slow us down. If that's the catch, I'm fine with that, Ian. If they stay consistent. They haven't been consistent for several years. Back during Bestiary, they said they wanted to slow the game down. Guys, do you realize that? Jordan says, I think you've ranted lots, just not about the things people expected you to. Okay, well, I'm an unexpected surprise. Crikey! Did you mention a surprise? Something unexpected? Maybe like treasure on an expedition hunt. Or maybe opening a chest and finding out it's a mimic and it's trying to eat your face. Sounds incredible. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry to be such a failure. I'm so sorry. Guys, I'm sorry to be a failure and not to rage and be upset about more things. This, I feel like, is what POE used to be like, where Patch Notes Night was just like, we're smacking stuff. If this is their smack, it's pretty light. It's pretty light compared to what they used to do. But we'll see. Once we get in game, you know what, guys? I'm willing to say this. Friday, I might be playing, and I might have to upload a video on Monday that says, guys, I didn't even make it to Act 3 because the game is too hard, and I need you guys to help me kill Dominus. All right, increased critical strikes. Supported skills now have 60 to 117 increased critical strike chance, previously 50 to 88. Supported skills now have +2 to critical strike chance, previously 1 to 1.9. Nice. That's a big buff off the base. Infused channeling. Supported skills now deal 15 to 24% more damage, previously 20 to 39. No longer has totems, cannot gain infusion, but can no longer support skills used by totems. Okay, so we removed some lines there on that gem. Inspiration. Supported skills now deal 3 to 5% more elemental damage per inspiration charge, previously 5 to 7%. All right. Supported skills now deal 10 to 14% more area damage with hits per intensity, previously 14 to 22%. Supported skills now have 30 to 49% increased area of effect. That's down from 35 to 54. Iron Grip, Mana Reservation, Iron Will, Mana Reservation, Less Duration, Mana Reservation, and Quality Swap. Lesser LMP, that's a Quality Swap. Lesser Poison got renamed, and Mana Multiplier. Lightning Pen, same changes to all the other pens for elemental resistances. It's now 20 to 34 instead of 18 to 37. Same thing for Awakened Lightning. It's now 35 to 39 instead of 38 to 42. Life Gain, Life Leech both have mana cost changes. Life Tap, big time mana cost change, or life cost change. Supported skills, okay. It's 10 to 19 as opposed to 10 to 29. So you'll lose a little bit at the top end. That's not too bad. You have to spend a little bit more life. That's not that bad. Spam your skill more. Look at your animation a little bit longer. At Iron, if we can't make it to Act 3, mission accomplished. Yeah, there you go. Are we working towards crit with ailments this league? Oh, that's an interesting question, Ian. Terry Henderson says, we want to slow the game down. Also, here's a bunch of leagues with timers. Oh, that's great, Terry. Yeah. Yeah. We really want players to interact and see every single frame and animation that we have put in. And so that's why there's a timer, and you'll fail the encounter if you don't do what you're supposed to do within 5 seconds. Isn't there no XP penalty on death in the first 5 acts? The penalty for dying to a Part 1 boss is being sent back to the arena door while the boss keeps the damage you did to it. Yep. It's called shotgunning a boss down. That's what we used to call it. Yeah, I'm just going to rush in, I'm just going to shotgun him down, or I'm just going to bum rush him. Yep. I remember there was one time I had just leveled up before killing Kitava for in Act 10. I was like level 70, or maybe I was level 69. Ayo, level 69. And I don't know where that came from. Is this a new signal that I'm telling a joke? Guys, this is the new signal. When I do this, I'm telling a joke. Slow removal of the hat. It means telling a joke. But I went in, killed, just previously leveled up on my way to Kitava. And so because of that, because you're not going to lose any XP, it doesn't matter. You just go in and you shotgun him down. It doesn't matter if he hits you. It doesn't matter if he kills you, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter as long as you're not playing hardcore. And I went in there with like, I don't know how many deaths I went in with prior to it, but I came out with like 10 or 12 more because I just didn't even care. You can do that. Some players will do that. I forget when that was, if that was 3.2 or 3.3 or even more recent. Okay, MAME. Supported skills are now 10 to 19 instead of 15 to 30. Enemies maimed by supported skills now take 10% increased physical damage, previously 10 to 14. Okay, so we lose a multiplier there. A bit of a multiplier. Now grants supported skills have 10% less attack speed. Ooh, okay. Quality no longer grants intimidate for enemies for 4 seconds on hit. See, and again, that's an interesting mechanical change. You shouldn't get all of these extra things. It's kind of like the Blade Blast, Blade Fall nerf for taking Unnerve off. You shouldn't get Unnerve from a spell gem that's also intended to be a primary damage spell gem. Like, if you have a quality of life support gem that can go with a lot of different things, but then you have this one spell gem that's just got built-in quality of life into the spell gem, well then of course it's going to be strong and a great option when compared with other options. I need a gif of you lifting off your hat like that. Well, you guys can make it, right? Isn't there a clip option now on YouTube? Doesn't YouTube have the clipping options? I thought it was called corpse running, says Shelby. Okay, that's another nice name for it. Drown the boss in your own corpses. Yeah. That's fair. Incursion was so incredibly disassociative with wanting the game slowed down. Yeah, exactly. Here's this huge timer. It only goes up as you kill monsters. So kill monsters fast. Yeah. That's still how I get through Solaris and Lunaris with my negative resists in the campaign. Yeah. I've been trying to keep deaths to less than 10 per league on most characters, probably switching to hardcore at some point. Shelby, depending on who you are as a person, you will either love hardcore or you will hate it. I have experienced both throughout my time in Path of Exile. I used to play POE every other league as hardcore or softcore. And then the more kids me and Mrs. Draconis have had, we're up to 4 living kids now. The more kids we've had, I've just had to say, look, it's not worth it for me to play hardcore and to lose a character because I'm tired at the end of the day or because my kids need help with something and I forget to log out. It's just not worth it because I lost several characters that way. Like, it's just not worth it. So for the most part now I play softcore, but every once in a while I'll go back, maybe once a year or so. I think that's what I've done for the last 2 years. I'll go back once a year and I'll play a hardcore league pretty dedicated. It is still very fun. It's a completely different challenge. When people say they want Path of Exile to be more challenging, they should go play SSF first and see if they like that, if it's the economy that they want to be challenged on, or if it is dying. If they really want to be penalized and learn to level up better and different tricks for leveling up and different gear requirements for leveling up, then hardcore is a way to do that. It is a way to force yourself to do that. Synthesis, the pretty graphics literally disappear if you're too slow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and again, that's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to enjoy HC. And again, I don't enjoy HC all the time. Even when I was at my peak of playing HC Path of Exile, I didn't enjoy it all the time. Minion damage. All right, let's see if summoners actually got hit. Minions from supported skills now deal 25 to 29% more damage, previously 25 to 49. So a little bit off of the top. Okay. Now has minions from supported skills have 25% less maximum life. That's fine. We weren't using our minions to tank anyway. I'm not playing Baron zombies at the moment anyway. Which maybe I should play Baron zombies. Maybe nobody will be playing it and it'll be a 1C unique. Quality now grants for awakened minion damage 44 down from 50 to 54. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. Minion life, mana multiplier. Oh, that's a buff. Minion speed, that's a buff for the mana multiplier and reservation. Multiple traps. Okay, cost is increased. Multi-strike. Supported skills now deal 30 to 20% less attack damage. Previously 20 to 10. Can now support melee totem skills. Alright. First repeat of supported skill now deals 22. Was previously 20. Second repeat for Awakened Multi-Strike now deals 44. Was 40. Third repeat now deals 66 more. Was previously 60. So because of the attack damage reduction being 25 now instead of 10, they've actually buffed them more damage. Interesting. That's interesting. Nightblade. Increased mana cost. Now has elusive from supportive skills. Also grants plus 100 to 138 to crit strike multi for skills supported by Nightblade. Previously 80 to 99. Now has 0 to 38% increased effective elusive from supported skills. Was previously 0 to 28. Wow, that's... Am I reading this wrong, guys? Am I reading this backwards? Michael says, the good news is that you don't lose your hardcore character as they go to standard on death, but you can never slay the lag monster. Yeah, that's true. Shotgun says, I'm just hoping that the enemies actually render for me this league. Last league I kept dying to invis enemies. Yeah, that's always obnoxious. Craig says, played Gauntlet, was doing very well having reached maps, had a random logout, came back and was dead, not going HC anytime soon. Yeah. Yep, there's plenty of stories of that. I've lost plenty of characters to scenarios like that. Gray says, I'm just glad they didn't remove the negative minion life on awakened minion damage. Yeah, keep that as something that you got to deal with. Yeah, this is just a straight buff to Nightblade. Okay, Onslaught, Physical to Lightning, and Pierce all going up. Pinpoint going up in its mana cost, and supported skills now deal 20% more projectile damage with hits per intensity. It was previously 30. Okay. Poison's been renamed to Critical Strike Affliction support. Wow, that is a mouthful. Rather than calling it Poison support, calling it Critical Strike Affliction support. CSAS. No, CSAS. CISA. CISAS? CISAS. Oh, now has 140. What's the acronym for that? CSAS? CSAS. No longer grants supported skills deal 20 to 39% more damage with poison, or supported skills have 60% chance to poison to on hit. It now grants supported skills have 55 to 83% damage over time multiplier for ailments from critical strikes. Okay. Power charge on crit, up on cost. Predator, up on cost. And minions from supported skills now deal 6 to 12% more damage. Was previously 15 to 25. Okay, that's a pretty big hit. That's cutting it in half. It's cutting it more than half. That's a pretty big hit on Predator. But what if I didn't even use Predator? How do you think this game will run on Steam Deck? Oh, I would not want to try. I don't think VR is at the spot yet for POE to try. Remember, guys, if you die in real life, you go to standard, so wash your hands and stand far apart from others. Yeah. Make sure you cough into your sleeve. Ruthless. Ruthless blows with supported skills now deal 70 to 98 more melee damage, previously 75 to 132. Hey, does anybody know who won the Bucks versus Suns game? Does anybody know NBA basketball? Did somebody win yet? I don't even know. I'm not even watching the game tonight. I'm over here reading patch notes. Ruthless blows with supported skills now deal 70 to 98% more damage with bleeding caused by melee hits. Previously was 75 to 132. Okay, so it's down. Now only supports melee strike and slam skills. Previously supported non-channeling melee attack skills. Okay. now has a 200% cost and reservation multiplier, previously 125%. Supported skills have a 24% reduced cooldown recovery rate at gem level 1, previously 5% increased, up to 5% reduced at gem level 20, previously 24% increased. All right, Shockwave. Yeah, we already knew about Second Wind and all the changes there. Just a cost change. Slower projectiles cost change. It actually went down. Yeah, this is a bow league. This is a projectile league. A lot of projectiles actually had their costs come down. Supported skills now deal 10 to 19% more projectile damage, previously 20 to 29. Spell Cascade can now support minion skill gems? Oh, I did not know that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Spell Cascade Support is a support gem that causes the linked spells to repeat its effect in front and behind of wherever you have targeted your spell at the cost of reduced area of effect and damage. I don't even care about these number changes, guys. That is a mechanic that is a mechanic that Spectres have never had access to before. Don't get excited. It doesn't affect the minion themselves, only you. For example, the new minion skill. Oh, so you're saying that it would not support a Spectre? Quantum, you're saying that this would not support a Spectre. Spell Echo supports a Spectre. It also is like, hey, it'll cast your Spectre, summon Spectre twice. But Spell Echo also affects the abilities of your Spectres. We need some clarification on that. Does anybody have anything from GGG on that? No, the only times that Spell Cascade gets mentioned is twice, and it's right here. Awaken Spell Cascade and regular Spell Cascade. That's interesting. I could be totally wrong. Added line to Spell Cascade and Awakened Spell Cascade can now support skills with the minion gem tag to affect casting them, but still cannot modify the skill of minions. Okay. Oh, that's a bummer. Man, I got all excited. Okay, you guys wanted to see me upset. Now I'm upset. Now I'm sad. That was going to be really cool. Have a bunch of new Spectres to jump around with and test their skills out on. Oh, man. That feels good. But no. Okay, fine. Hey, GGG, maybe could you guys add this so that way... How many supporter packs do I need to buy before Spell Cascade can support minions and their Spectre skills? All right, Spell Echo. Supported skills now have 40 to 54 more cast speed. Yeah, GGG with the fake out. Yeah, that's worded really poorly. They should just have a line clarifying that right there. Whatever. That's fine. It's fine. SRS Necro? Yeah. I mean, I guess, would this also work for like, for your offerings?
But I guess you only can have one active per time, right? What happens if I activate multiple offerings all at the same time? Could you like have it so that way they all work? No. No, I don't think so. Detonate dead and volatile dead to be more efficient. Yeah, that's fair. Ooh, I could see that for volatile dead being really good. I could see that for volatile dead being pretty good. Okay, let's keep moving. So, Spell Echo got a little bit of a numerical hit. Spell Totems got a little bit of a hit. 22 to 24 less damage, previously 35 to 26. Now 40% less cast speed, previously 30. Summon Phantasm, mana hit. Swift Affliction, big time mana multiplier. Supported skills now deal 20 to 34% more damage over time. Used to be 25 to 44. Okay. Now 25 less duration, used to be 15. All right, Awakened is the same thing. It's just more numerical hits. Swift Brand. Supported skills now have 30 to 44% more activation frequency, previously 45 to 64. Oof. Supported skills now have 65% less detached duration, previously 40%. There's unique that lets you have multiple different offerings. Is that chevrons? Not chevrons. It's the Queen's, no, not the Queen's Decree. It's the sacrifice something. Ah, I can't remember what it's called either. Why do you do this to me? It's patterned after the Vol. Isn't it Vol Regalia? Isn't it a unique Vol Regalia? Something? I could be wrong. You could summon more phantasms with Soul Rest. Yeah, I guess with Spell Cascade that would work. Okay. Trap support. Mana cost up. Trap and Mine. Mana cost up. Throwing speed. Previously reduced. Throwing speed. Or less Mine. Throwing speed. Okay. Trinity support. Supported skills now deal 3% more elemental damage per 5 of the lowest resonance. Previously 3 to 5. Supported skills now penetrate 8 to 16 elemental resistances, while each resonance is at least 25, previously 10 to 20. And quality is now changed up. Unbound ailments, 10 to 19% more damage with ailments, previously 25 to 34. Supported skills now have 35 to 54 increased effect, previously 25 to 34. Okay, not a big deal. Unleash, mana cost up. Supported skills now deal 30 to 21% less damage while reoccurring, previously 20 to 11. Awaken Unleash, same thing. Everything's just coming down. Urgent Orders, mana cost, Vicious Projectiles, 30 to 49% across the board. Used to be 40 to 59. Okay. Same thing for Awakened. Vile Toxins, mana cost up. Supported skills now deal 10 to 19% more damage. Previously was 30 to 49. Supported skills now deal 5% more damage with hits for each poison on the enemy, up to 5 to 8. Previously was 6 to 9. Not that big a hit. Queen's Hunger. Is that what it's called, Shelby? Is it called the Queen's Hunger? Or is it the Queen's Sacrifice? No, the Queen's Sacrifice is that what gets you? That's the prophecy. That's right. The Queen's Hunger. POE. Let's try. Let's see it. Yeah, offering skills triggered this way also affect you. Trigger level 20 bone offering, flesh offering, or spirit offering every 5 seconds. It is a unique Vol Regalia. Oh. Yep, that's the one that drops from Katarina. All right, Void Manipulation.
All right, you guys tell me how bad this is. Tell me, should I be angry about this for void manipulation? You guys tell me. I've been telling you guys all night. You guys tell me. Mana cost is up. Supported skill now deals 20 to 34% more chaos damage. Was previously 20 to 39. No longer has supported skills deal 25% reduced elemental damage. It now has supported skills deal no elemental damage. Oh no! Because I was using void manipulation with a build that really heavily relied on elemental damage. Said no one, ever. I love the Soul Rest build. Prices can be steep at league start. Yeah, that's true for everything though. That's why you got a league start with something that doesn't require a lot of uniques, can push into maps without uniques, and then as you gather currency, you can kind of pivot onto something and make a decision from there. All right, passive tree balance. I am not going to read through all these. I like to look at these side by side. So I'm not going to read through all these. Like the new stuff, I need to see it on the tree. This is nice to have this. This is nice to have this. Hey, the old thing, I think this is what was missing the last couple of leagues where they're like, hey, here's the old notable and it no longer does this. Or here's the old notable and here's how we updated it. So I'm glad that they did this. Thank you, GGG, for bringing this back. Quantum says, by the way, I am not upset about the changes, but I also don't believe everything is fine for the casual player. Quantum, I would agree with you in the regard that I'm not sure if this is going to be fine or not for the casual player. I just don't know any casual players who are going to look at these nerfs and go, oh, now I can't play POE and POE's not fun anymore. Hey, welcome, Beckett. It's good to see you here. Did you survive or did you die in your Mountain Blade stream? Hopefully that went well. Small hits of void manipulation, you just have to make a choice is all. Yeah, I think that's everything here, folks. I think that's all of the support gems. It's a small hit to everything, and you got to be aware of that. GGG used to murder builds. Do you remember the analogy that we used about the Mafia? They used to take builds out and go break kneecaps. And now this is like shredding up pieces of paper and people are being upset about it. Soul Rest is like 1/10 the price of decent minion wands. Yeah, that's a good point. You survived? All right, there you go. That's good. That's good news. All right, here's the big ones that we need to know. Ascendancy balance. Hierophant. Illuminated Devotion. No longer has immunity to elemental ailments while you have Arcane Surge. Now has 50% reduced effect of non-damaging ailments on you while you have Arcane Surge. And it should also just say Arcane Surge also got nerfed really hard, and so you shouldn't want Arcane Surge as much anymore. Inquisitor, Pious Path. No longer causes consecrated ground you create to grant immunity to elemental ailments to you and allies. Okay. But I think a lot of people might actually play Inquisitor this league. Because if crit is the way to go, then Inquis, right? Especially with the nerfs to the pen gems. Like, why use pen gems when you can just be an Inquisitor? Slayer, Headsman, now called Bane of Legends. Bane of Legends now called Headsman. What? What? What did they just do? What's the mob buff look like? It looks like Act 1. It looks like Act 1 mobs are getting retuned. So far, that's all we know. Act 1 mobs are getting retuned. They're going to be 20% faster, supposedly. Terry says, the biggest thing people seem to be upset about is the changes to mana multipliers. It seems like they hit mana hard. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's a quality of life thing. The damage, I don't think, is going to be that big a deal. I really don't. Remember what they did to Combs Heart and at Zeri's Acuity? Yeah, and guess what? People sometimes still use Combs Heart when you're playing Righteous Fire. For what purpose? Chris wants to make the game harder, supposedly. That's supposedly it. That's what they said in the Balance Manifesto yesterday. I don't think they're achieving it. But
Yeah, that's it. I was worried. Yeah, we'll see what it's like. We'll see what it's like on release. It doesn't sound that bad in the patch notes. Slayer literally breaks the game now. Yeah, this is just confusing. So when I select Bane of Legends, I really got Headsman, but then Headsman is now called Bane of Legends, so I really got Bane of Legends, which is called Headsman. Like, this line is Abbott and Costello. Did they just go Abbott and Costello on us? Well, which Headsman did you get? The Bane of Legends. Okay, so the Bane of Legends. Yeah, the Headsman. This is just trolling. All right, Champion. The small passives prior to and after Unstoppable Hero no longer have 5% increased effective Fortify on you. They now have 10% increased attack damage while you have Fortify. Yep, we know. We know. We get it. Grinding Gear Games hates it when players have defensive options. We know. They want us to experience monsters and monster animations, but they don't want us to have the ability to survive to actually witness monster animations. They want us to play Dark Souls. That's what they want. Ugh. Arbitrary changing of names, yeah. It's just a meme. It's just a joke. Pathfinder. Master Alchemist no longer grants immunity to elemental ailment during Flask effect. No longer has 40% increased elemental damage during Flask effect. Now removes elemental ailments when you use a Flask. Master Toxicist now has poisons you inflict during any new Flask have 20% chance to deal 100% more damage. Okay. But with poisons just doing 50% more damage across the board, that's... Right? That's what we read yesterday in the Balance Manifesto, is that poison does 50% more damage now. So play Pathfinder. League start Pathfinder, go play poisons, win game. Pathfinder Viper Strike, League start. Go get a, what is it, Wasp Nest. Win game. It's worse than Dark Souls. Dark Souls, you can see the animations really easily and the game is telegraphed very well. Yeah, that's true. With the amount of monsters that are on the screen in PoE and the amount of animations going on, you can't see what's going on. Raider gets smacked because, for one season it's not at the very bottom of popularity. Avatar of the Veil no longer grants immunity to elemental ailments while phasing. Now grants a 50% chance to avoid elemental ailments while phasing. Rapid Assault no longer grants 50% increased onslaught effect. The small passives prior to and after Quartz Infusion no longer grant 4% increased movement speed, now grant 10% increased elemental damage. And I can already see it on the chart when we do the week 1 league start and when we do the mid-league meta update. Raider's not going to be in the top 5. It's not going to be in the top 10. Meanwhile, Assassin, Necro, Champion, Elementalist, Trickster, they're allowed for like years to remain in the top 5. That's fine. For 6 leagues in a row, you've been a top 3 Ascendancy. That's fine. Raider gets it for 1 league. You sit down, Raider. Sit down. If before you built your characters only based on the flavor of the names, then the Slayer changes is the most impactful yet. Tinder, I just have this image of somebody that's just got a hat and they've just got like all the mechanics in PoE on pieces of paper in the hat and they just pull out the names of the mechanics and that's how they built their character. Onslaught effect being gone hurts so bad. Yeah, it does. It does. It sucks. The thing that made Raider nerfing their own buffs. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, folks. Everybody earlier on in the night, they was saying, oh, Iron, they're doing this, though. This is a pattern that they're going to do this in 3.16. They're going to do this in 3.17. They're going to do this in 3.18. Iron, you better be careful about talking about nerfs because Grinding Gear Games, they're going to be consistent about it. And they're going to do it in the upcoming couple of leagues. They just gave us Fist of War support a year ago. They just did the Slam reworks a year ago. They just did a Spell reworks
a year ago with a bunch of buffs to support gems that supported self-cast a year ago. And now they're nerfing it. There is zero consistency here, folks. You are kidding yourself if you think after 10 years of not being consistent, all of a sudden Grinding Gear Games is going to go, hey, mate, g'day, we found our consistency. Like, Mike, that's a beautiful way to put it. Nerfing their own buffs. That's what they do. Was it a league ago or two ago? Was it Ritual or was it Heist that they said, hey, we're gonna buff Raider a little bit? And they buffed it. People played it a little bit, not a lot, a little bit, and then can't do that. I think I'm going to try cast while channeling Voltaxic Burst Cyclone. Oh, that sounds interesting, Zambi. Assassin. Noxus Strike. No longer has 30% to damage over time multiplier for poison. Increased poison duration for each poison you have inflicted. Recently is now capped up to a maximum of 100%. Previously uncapped. Which is funny because GGG should learn that anything that's uncapped needs a cap. Because anything that's not capped, in Path of Exile, players figure out how to use to just scale it forever. Remember, elemental max resistances didn't used to be capped. Now they're capped at 90%. They first had to cap them at 95%, and then they said, nope, it's still too good. Everything should have a cap in this game. Either GGG needs to deal with it and be like, well, this is actually okay, it doesn't have a cap, or it needs to have just huge diminishing returns, such that you can't actually hit, infinity scaling, and it's basically a soft cap, which is what like armor has. It doesn't have a hard cap, but it's just got diminishing returns and it doesn't matter. Physical damage mitigation's got a cap. Now has poison you inflict with critical strikes deal 25% more damage. Which, by the way, that new ward mechanic, I'm sure they're going to figure out, oh, shouldn't we have had a cap on that? Somebody's going to create an immune build. I'm already calling it. Somebody's going to create an immune build with ward, and then in 3.16, people are going to go, oh yeah, man, player power just spiked through the roof during 3.15. Everybody was running that immortal ward build. Elementalist. For real, that Raider hit is the thing that hurts for me the most. Raider has always been my favorite, and the rework felt so nice. And it was for like a league. They completely reworked Raider a while ago. Yeah, that was like 3.7 when they redid everything, right? That was a while ago. That was like 3.7 that they redid everything. I just wish they normalized Strike's mana cost. Flicker's too expensive. Yeah. Elementalist, Liege of the Primordial, no longer has 25% increased effective buffs granted by golems or 25% increased effective buffs granted by your golems per summoned golem. It now has 100% increased effective buffs granted by your golems. So in some way, Liege of the Primordial is actually better with fewer golems now, right? Because it used to be that you used to want to have as many golems as you could to get that. So in some ways, that's a buff to having fewer golems. I get that it's a nerf to golementalists running around with a bunch of golems. But if you're just running a golem or two. Elemancer no longer has 35% chance to avoid elemental ailments because we want you to be frozen all the time. Just wear Alpha's Howl, guys. I haven't seen... Is Alpha's Howl in here? No, Alpha's Howl is not in the patch notes. So unless they changed Alpha's Howl... Or Wanderlust, just cannot be frozen. Or just craft it on your boots. Cannot be frozen. Don't even have to worry about elemental ailments at that point. Just they want us to use our itemization for that rather than our Ascendancy. Ascendant, Inquisitor, no longer has immunity to elemental ailments. Okay, that makes sense. Pantheon Rebalance. Upgraded Soul of Yu-Gi-Oh! Pantheon power no longer grants 5% reduced cold damage taken if you've been hit recently. Now grants 20% reduced effective curses on you. Upgraded Soul of Ralikesh Pantheon power no longer grants cannot be blinded and you cannot be maimed. Now grants corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you if you have at least 5 corrupted blood debuffs on you. Upgraded Soul of Garukin Pantheon power no longer grants 6% increased move speed if you haven't been hit recently. Now grants cannot be blinded and you cannot be maimed.
If they want us to be slower, they just need to hit move speed and action speed, right? Ooh, you can no longer obtain level 21 23% quality gems outside of the Incursion Temple and specific divination cards. Chests and rewards that previously would have given level 21 23 quality gems now instead give a level 21 20% quality gem. That's interesting. You can no longer obtain level 2 and higher versions of Empower, Enhance, and Enlighten support gems from League rewards. Level 4 versions can still be obtained from Corruption and specific divination cards. So in other words, they don't want us to drop that stuff anymore. They just want you to obtain it by gambling. Catalysts no longer affect the chances of rolling related modifiers on jewelry through crafting, and quality on jewelry is no longer removed when crafting with specific currency. Blessed Boots have been renamed to Fugitive Boots. Okay. Fugitive Boots. Implicits now grant 13 to 17 chaos resistance, up from 7 to 13. Amethyst Ring now grants better chaos resistance, 17 to 23, used to be 9 to 13. The Sorrow, Atonement, and Penitent Mask base types now have 10 to 15% increased effective 4 to 5, previously 20 to 25. All right. The Abyss Jewel suffix modifier that granted the Onslaught, is removed. The Veiled modifier that causes you to trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill now has a 250% cost and reservation multiplier. Yeah. Synthesis modifiers that granted reduced flask charges used can no longer be rolled. Synthesis, hey, that should be good news for people in Standard. They just made a bunch of currency. If you've got old stuff. Synthesis implicit modifiers with increased Fortify effect can no longer roll. Influence and Essence modifiers on weapons can now roll up to 38% increased Impale effect on two-handed weapons, previously 22%, and up to 25% increased Impale effect on one-handed weapons, previously 15%. See, look at this! Look at this! Look at that! You guys look at that! Oh, GGG is nerfing support gems and we don't have any damage and they want us to slow down and then... But they give us a way to craft damage through Impale. This is why I go, I don't believe you when you say your goal is to slow the game down. They're not slowing the game down. They're just changing the meta, making players play something different so that way players don't get bored playing the same thing. That's what they're doing. Nobody likes that answer though. It's much better if we all just scream about how our favorite game is slowing down and they're killing it. Added a new suffix modifier to regular jewels, granting 5 to 7% chance to impale enemies on hit with attacks. Okay, so how long until that gets removed because players, or GGG just says, well, this was too easy of a way to get Impale, just like what they just did with Onslaught. Like, literally, where was it? Here. This is bad because it's too easy to get Onslaught here. And then, hey, and now you can just roll Impale on your regular jewels. That's going to make Fizz two-handers so expensive to get. I mean, maybe. But it means a lot of people are going to be playing them. It means there's going to be a market for it. The Blessing of God divination card has been temporarily disabled from dropping. What is Blessing of God? POE Blessing of God. Oh, it's an Elrion's Jewelry item level 85. Okay. Okay. So that's a change. It's a little bit of an economic change. I mean, Impale is all over the tree. Right, but my point is that there's Onslaught on Kill on the tree as well. But it was on Abyss Jewels, and it was, it's too much, it's too easy to get. Again, I must just be way off. My perspective is way off on all these things. Essence of Horror can no longer grant 15% increased effective fortify on amulets. It now grants 15 to 25% chance to crush on hit. Okay, so we took off the defensive layer, and we're giving you an offensive layer. But remember, we don't want you to kill stuff too quickly, and we want you to experience the content and really see it all. They want to change the meta, but still Cyclone or Blade Vortex didn't get touched. Oh, man. Zambi, are you okay? Zambi's over here trolling. Comment? Reply? Highest tier modifier of on Shaper influence boots that grants chance to avoid elemental ailments has been lowered from 31 to 35 to 22 to 25. Okay. Yeah, a lot of these are elemental ailment changes. Granite Flask now grant 1,500 to armor rating? Oh, dude. Dude. It's just cutting defenses in half. It's just cutting defenses from Flasks in half. Guardian must feel unsafe with all these Onslaught charges. Yeah, Onslaught is apparently an unwelcome game mechanic. Basalt Flask no longer grants 15% additional physical damage reduction and 20%. It now grants 20% more armor and taunts nearby enemies. So you actually want to stack armor now if you're using a Basalt Flask. It's not just, hey, you can just use this instead of it. GGG has generally gotten rid of, like, physical damage reduction. There was a Cluster Jewel that used to have it. They got rid of it. It used to be on the tree. What was it, Crystal Skin? Or Diamond Skin? Got rid of it. Hey, what's up, Hi? Hey, G3, they updated Spell Cascade? They did? They heard our cries? All right, let me try to refresh the page. Thank you. Thank you, GGG. Thank you. And thank you, Hi, for pointing that out. Look at that. That's all they needed to say. That was beautiful. That was excellent clarification. Can now support skills with the minion gem tag to affect casting them, but still cannot modify the skills of minions. That's great. Thank you. Thank you, GGG. Thank you. Ah, how beautiful and glorious it is when you can actually read something and it means what it says, and it says what it means. Okay, now down here, back to complaining about physical damage reduction. You just can't get it anymore. Are these Flask changes retroactive? That's a good question, Mike. I wouldn't think they are. Where does it say it? Are you asking because does that mean that we're all very, very rich in standard because we've all got legacy, all these legacy Flasks? You might be right. But guys, think about it. Now we can do reflect maps since we don't do damage, says Duzo. Duzo, it's okay. We'll be okay. That's what we've been saying all night. We're going to be okay. Shelby says, why kill defense to slow the game down? Yeah, that's what I'm saying all night. I don't understand why do they constantly take away defensive layers if they want us to experience the game? Like, make defensive options attractive such that we pour our resources into defensive options, and then we don't have those resources for offensive options. So that slows the game down. We kill stuff less fast because we can take hits and still see the animation. Unique item balance. The Molnar Unique Gavel no longer has 100% increased spell damage if triggered. Now grants 80 to 100% increased lightning damage instead of 30 to 40% increased lightning damage with attack skills. These changes affect all versions of the item, though you will need to use a divine orb to obtain the new values. Socketed lightning spells triggered by Molnar now have 0% cost and a reservation multiplier. They have no cost. The modifier on the Militant Faith Timeless Jewel that grants 1% reduced cost of skills per 10 devotion can no longer roll. It's 1% reduced mana cost of skills. Interesting. They're hitting timeless jewels. That scares me. The Asylum unique helmet now has socketed triggered bow skills deal 40% less damage, previously 33%. The Brutal Restraint Jewel can no longer alter passives to grant 8% increased non-unique Flask effect. Instead, they can now alter passives to grant 25% chance to gain Alchemist Genius on Flask use. Does that grant 8% increased effect? Is Alchemist Genius just a way of saying 8% increased Flask effect? Lethal Pride Timeless Jewel now alters passives to grant 5% increased Fortify effect, down from 10. Yeah. That's what I was worried about. Okay, Facebreaker is made for unarmed melee attacks. That's right, because they're gonna do that ranged unarmed skill gem. That's right. Rumi's Concoction now has 8 to 12% chance to block, down from 14 to 20, and 4 to 6% chance to block spell damage during the effect, down from 6 to 10. They hate defenses. They just hate them. Lion's Roar now has 7 to 10 more melee damage, down from 20 to 25. That's a pretty big hit. That's more than half. That ain't 20%. That's more than half. Bottled Faith no longer has +1 to 2 to critical strike chance against enemies on consecrated ground. It now has 100 to 150% increased critical strike chance against enemies on consecrated ground effect, and 20 to 40% increased duration. Existing items can be updated. Okay. Ugh. Taste of Hate unique Flask now has 10 to 15% of physical damage from hits taken as cold damage, previously 20%. Oof. It gained 10 to 15% of physical, previously 15 to 20. Man, did Wise Oak get hit too? Yeah, they just hit everything that did damage. Every unique that did damage, they just tweaked all the percentages. Wise Oak is down to 6 from 10, and Penetration is 5 to 8, down from 10 to 15. Yeah, so just play Inquis. Just play Inquisitor, guys. If you really want to penetrate elemental resistances, just play Inquisitor. Oh, Kira's Determination, I use that sometimes. Now has 60 to 80% reduced duration. Existing versions can be updated. Okay, so that's still something. That's something. Cluster Jewel Balance. Oh my gosh. You guys were right. We're never going to get through all this. Tinda says, ironically, now we won't see the enemy animation over our Giga skill effects with all the quality of life support gems we're going to use. Yeah, I'm just going to fire a gazillion projectiles. Each of them will do no damage, but they'll all freeze every enemy they come into contact with. Spoiler alert, Cospreys didn't get a mention, so I guess you need to pay for the triggered spell from it. Ooh. That's interesting. I logged into standard to roll near perfect stats for the unique Flasks. Law. Yep, go get your perfect legacy gear now. The Alchemist Genius buff. Hey, that's what we were asking about. From the Spike Concoction notable now grants 10% increased Flask effect, previously 20. Oof. Yeah, Flasks and Pathfinder just got smacked, man. Absolutely smacked. Okay. That's good. If they want to slow things down, just keep slowing things down. If that's what they want to do, I want to see consistency. If they want to slow things down, they need to hit stuff. If that's their stated goal, which it is, then they gotta hit stuff. If they don't want to slow things down, then they don't hit stuff. They can keep saying they want to slow it down, but if they're not actually slowing stuff down, then they don't. The Winter Commander notable no longer grants 4% increased move speed. It now grants 8% increased evasion rating. The Winter Prowler notable no longer grants increased move speed. It now grants increased life recovery from flasks. Yeah. The Darting Movement's notable now grants 3% increased movement speed. Previously 5%. Yeah, see, they're hitting some of this stuff. What's interesting is they're hitting some of this peripheral stuff that, like, is not top end. But the top end people, again, Headhunter, Self-Poison, a couple of those other builds, you know, running with an aura support. Those guys are still going to be fine. POE on stream as a show is still going to be available for you to vicariously live through your favorite streamer. That's something that I detest. I detest games being made and designed with a games as a show rather than games as a service even, or games as a game. Yeah, that part I don't like. That actually might be my grumpy moment when I just stop gaming altogether, is when I get fed up with all of these different gaming companies that are trying to design their games to be consumed as a show rather than played. I recognize there's some irony in that as I am live streaming us reading patch notes, right? We're not even playing the game right now. We're just talking about the game while we're reading patch notes. So I understand there's some irony there. But part of the reason why we get together to read patch notes is because the game isn't worth playing in the moment when patch notes are available, right? The last league has ended. If you're a standard player, then you're already playing standard, and today and yesterday are actually really awkward and confusing days with a lot of fluctuation in the market. So monster changes. Act bosses throughout the campaign now drop fewer but significantly better items. Guys, that's good. Guys, that's good. Drop less items because we're filtering them all out anyway, but give us better items. Now, the definition of what is a better item might still not mean it's worth you or I picking up, but at least it's not as bad as what it was. At least it's better. Right? Hopefully they'll actually drop some stuff. Rebalance the ailment threshold for monsters. In before, this accidentally means that everybody who kills Hillock within the first 5 minutes gets a tabula, and they're like, oh no, we messed something up. Rebalance the ailment thresholds for monsters, reducing this for particularly tough endgame bosses. Game-wide poison now does 50% more damage, taking 30% of the combined physical and chaos damage up from 20. Yep, we like that. El Hazmin and his snakes. Yep, they're changed. Puncture-based damage has been buffed by approximately 20% and bleeding damage by approximately 25% for all monsters that use a puncture skill. Huh. So those guys in the dried lake that crawl around and they got the big egg-like body with the egg and then the crown legs on the top. Those guys that shoot puncture. Interesting. Improved audio and added dialogue for various Delve boss fights. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Do you get a whiff of that, Exile? Nico's fun. I like Nico and his insanity. Hey, what's up, John Shed? Welcome, welcome. Now make it game-wide? Yeah, that'd be interesting. Extra game user engagement isn't the only important kind of engagement, companies. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have people playing. You have to have people playing your game. That change is what I've been asking for a while. Which one in particular are you talking about, Red? So they nerf our defenses, buff monster damage, and expect us to play slower. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Leonardo says better. Do you really believe it? I believe that there will be less items on the ground, and I believe that they will be better than the items that were on the ground. Doesn't mean it's worth picking up yet. If on average, let's say Brutus was dropping a level 5 sword that had 4 to 5 physical damage on it. And now he drops a level 5 sword with 5 to 9 damage on it. It's better. Does it mean it's worth picking up? No. But it's better. Cleared screen is a safe screen? Yeah, that's one of the aspects of playing a Trapper that I like. I know I said that earlier on in the night that I don't necessarily always like pressing a button to clear every single pack. But something that's nice about playing a Trapper is it's not the same speed and it's not the same feel, but there's something similar to playing a Trapper as to playing a Wander or a bow build. You get to direct, like, hey, this goes way far out, and then it's going to explode and do way far out damage way far away from me. Whereas when you're self-casting or when you're attacking with melee, even if you've got huge AoE, it's like, all right, I can hit this portion of the screen over there, and then I can pro-lift something if I hit something over there. But there's going to be different aspects of where I'm at in relationship to my enemies where maybe they can hit me. So there's something nice about being able to clear screens multiple screens away. Atlas and map changes. Map tiers and locations have been shuffled, though the pin locations for maps have not changed. Most maps are now initially found at a different tier. The area is inhabited by Abominations modifier can no longer be rolled on Maven invitations as it didn't actually do anything. Atlas passive changes. The Harbinger bosses from the Diplomatic Escort Atlas passive now spawn far fewer monsters. They now have more threatening skills to compensate for this. Zana League mods available during 3.15. Okay, let's see. Nemesis. So, headhunters can get chanced. So pick up a leather belt, save your chance orbs, and then sell them in bulk for chaos and make lots of currency. Or you can save your chaos orbs, save some belts, save some scouring orbs, go into a Nemesis map that costs you 4 chaos to roll, and potentially roll a headhunter. Traps look strong, especially considering the Saboteur ailment immunity. Shh, John, don't tell anybody. Shh. The trick this league, now that we don't have elemental ailment immunity, is just to never get hit with anything that's got an ailment, right? Yes. Okay, user interface changes. Here's Metamorph, here's Ritual, here's Delirium. Okay, non-damaging elemental ailments applied to you or enemies now display their effect. Yep, we like that. The tooltip in the skill bar of the character panel for Righteous Fire now displays damage per second. That's pretty cool. I wonder if it's actually accurate, but that's pretty cool. That's a direct buff to one of my builds. I dropped a Headhunter on a Fortune Favors the Brave map a couple of leagues ago. I almost had a heart attack. Very nice, Terry. Very nice. Congratulations. Hope it happens again this league. Added support for Stash Tab affinities to the Heist Locker and the new Expedition Locker. Expedition's going to have that locker. Once an affinity has been set up at a locker, control clicking an applicable item from your inventory into your stash will always send it directly to the appropriate locker, regardless of whether you have the locker open. Nice! That's quality of life, baby. Added 4 new free colored mouse cursor variations. So I don't have to use YOLO mouse? That's pretty cool. Oh, what are you guys saying? Something about Headhunter? You don't need Nemesis anymore? Headhunter is global? Oh, I must have forgotten that. What? When did that happen? I need to go look. When was that change? $314. Many unique items that were league-specific have now also been added to the core drop pool. In content reveal video, no longer a Nemesis league-specific item, now added to the core loot drop table. There you go. 314, baby. There you go. So you don't even need Nemesis map. Although you need the Nemesis map if you want to chance it, right? No, I guess if it's global, you could just chance. You don't even need it. So you don't even need to spend the 4 chaos now. It's just global and you just start chancing belts right away. Level 40 plus, right? Yeah, as of 314. Yep, you guys are right. All of you guys are right. Tinda, Mike, John, you guys are all right. If there's anybody else that I missed it, you guys are absolutely right. 314 during Ultimatum League. Not during Ritual. All free cursor variations are now equipped through the UI options. Added default mouse cursor and cursor size settings to the UI. That's great. I really like that. Thank you, GGG. The rage indicator bar now updates more quickly. The RE check achievements chat command will now grant missing microtransaction challenge rewards if you're missing any. Hey, that's really cool. That's really cool. Quest rewards. All right, we've updated some quest rewards. I am not going to read through all of those. Mac changes, not going to read. PvP changes. Ooh, focus, ballista support, not going to read it. Royale changes. Player now drop their items when they leave mid-game. Oh, that's interesting. All right, here's the bug fixes. And here's the update. We really hope you enjoy Path of Exile Expedition. Thanks so much for your support. Okay, so they added that line on Spell Cascade. And they added a couple of other lines to actually make it so that way there was some clarity. Okay, there you go. We did it. Man, I feel like I cheated. We did not read all 16,000 words here. We did not. But man, that was a moment. That was a hot minute. Is that what we say? Is that what we would call that? That was a hot minute. All right, well, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming and for hanging out while we took a look at these particular patch notes. I'm not worked up about the patch notes. I'm not scared about the damage. To me, a game that's difficult means I have to put on that Swiss Army knife sort of cap. It means I need to take my thinking cap, maybe take a few moments to think about my character. And then, mates, I need to go make a decision with my character and hunt for some treasure on these expeditions. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for 315. We'll see if it ends up being any good. We'll see how challenging it is. We'll see if the goals that we all set for ourselves during every single league of what we normally would consider acceptable are goals that we can still hit. Or if the game is just too hard. Oh, the game is too hard. I can't do it. I can't kill Hillock. I need a party to come help me kill Dominus in Act 3. Anyway, we will see. Fabian says, I grew balder reading these nerfs. That's fair. Well, if you get yourself a nice hat, mate, maybe if you open up chests and you hunt for treasure in an expedition, you'll find a nice hat to cover up your baldness. Or to quote somebody I heard the other day, you know, God only made a few perfect heads, and the rest of them all have hair. Thanks so much for joining us tonight as we read through the patch notes. I hope that 315 is the league a Mirror of Calandra drops for all of you, and I sincerely hope that we all have fun. Thanks so much once again for joining us, and over the next couple of days, we will come out with some League Starter build guide videos, as well as some recommendations on how to set some goals for yourself for the upcoming league. So thanks again for joining us. Hopefully that mirror drops for you this league.